Thank you for coming. My name is CJ Winnick. I'm the Chief of Police of the Bristol Township Police Department. Follow up on the tragedy that occurred yesterday. We do have 2 fatalities, and our thoughts and prayers go out to those families this time of year. What we're here to report, we have an ongoing investigation. We're working with local, state, and federal authorities, and we are going to confirm that there was originally 20 injured. We have 19 still hospitalized, 1 in critical condition. We're here to thank everybody that helped us, assist us yesterday in this tragedy that occurred. They are currently ongoing, conducting an investigation and going through the building to determine the cause of this incident. I'm here with Chief Kevin DiPolito of the Fire Department, and he'll answer any questions you have.
Welcome back to Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Julie Kay. 12:30 right here. We're going to be here till 4 p.m. today, walking you through all the big stories nationally, locally, and of course, your really warm forecast. We're going to have another check on that later on. But we want to start out of Pennsylvania. An update that we brought you earlier on today from that nursing home explosion that killed 2 and injured many others. We have a new update from the last hour and a half from officials in Bucks County.
Good morning. Thank you for coming. My name is CJ Winnick. I'm the Chief of Police of the Bristol Township Police Department. Follow up on the tragedy that occurred yesterday. We do have 2 fatalities, and our thoughts and prayers go out to those families this time of year. What we're here to report, we have an ongoing investigation. We're working with local, state, and federal authorities, and we are going to confirm that there was originally 20 injured. We have 19 still hospitalized, 1 in critical condition. We're here to thank everybody that helped us, assist us yesterday in this tragedy that occurred. They are currently ongoing, conducting an investigation and going through the building to determine the cause of this incident. I'm here with Chief Kevin DiPolito of the Fire Department, and he'll answer any questions you have.
As far as the investigation into the cause of the explosion, that is still under investigation. We have heavy machinery on site right now that's helping us excavate the area. Until we excavate that area and remove the walls and roofs that collapsed, we won't have any idea what may have occurred in there. We're hoping to make significant progress today, and if we don't know by the end of today, we will continue our investigation over the next several days.
Chief, there were reports that there was a smell of gas that was ongoing before any crews arrived from the gas company. Can you confirm that?
I can't confirm that. We haven't done the fire department hasn't done any of those investigations. That's being handled by law enforcement at the federal level.
But did the fire department receive any calls about
Negative.
smell?
No, we did not.
No.
So, Kevin, I was told by some sources that PICO was out here on site investigating a potential gas leak, and that the PICO...
I am unable to confirm that. That would come from law enforcement.
Chief, a few questions. One, Sam Robert, NBC News. At this point, how many people are still unaccounted for? Do you know?
Everybody is accounted for. We confirm that. That's the list that we were provided with the agency that was running this facility. We went down that list several times, and everybody is accounted for.
And are you able to share at this time if the 2 victims that died were employees or residents?
One was a resident, one was an employee.
The 52-year-old woman, the employee?
Sorry, there were years of documented inspections that flagged various concerns, everything apparently from lack of fire extinguishers to fire exit plans. To your knowledge, were any of the previous concerns that were raised potentially relevant in what happened in this tragedy?
I can't comment on that because it's an ongoing investigation.
Can you share the ages of the 2 individuals who were killed?
I do not have those ages with me right now.
Male, female?
What's that?
Do you have male, female?
2 females.
Staff or resident?
1 staff, 1 resident.
Why is the ATF and the NTSB here?
Well, we have to establish jurisdiction. We treat this as a criminal event until it isn't criminal, and we have to determine jurisdiction.
There were reports that initially there were some reports that it was 3 people who died and somebody was saved at the hospital. Can you confirm that?
That is correct. Somebody was resuscitated at a local hospital.
Can you confirm that only a matter of weeks ago there was a call placed about the smell of gas by someone that works at the facility?
I cannot confirm that. We don't have knowledge of that right now.
Is it possible that that happened? Because that's what we heard from the employee.
I cannot confirm that. We have not spoken to that employee.
In the past few months, have you responded to any calls of gas odors coming from?
I don't think we've been here for any calls of any type, fire department related, in at least the last several weeks that I can recall.
The nature of the injuries, if you're able to go into that.
I cannot. I'm sorry about that. I cannot. I can just say that we do have 1 in critical, 19 still hospitalized.
Where were the residents who were released? Where were they taken?
So the company that purchased this property recently have 2 other properties, and they were being housed in the homes in their other facilities.
And how many residents were there in the facility?
We believe there's 120 residents in the facility.
What's the name of that company, Chief, that purchased the nursing home?
I do not have that information.
Can you talk a little bit about the efforts to rescue people and the fact that this is an assisted living facility? Mobility may be an issue for people, and how that presented or may not have presented a more complex rescue scenario for people?
Yes, we try to train for incidents like this, but we were overwhelmed. We had tremendous support from every law enforcement agency in Bucks County. Philadelphia responded with some of their teams. It was a blessing that we're next to a hospital. We had hospital staff come over and help us temporarily home them and house them in the facility. It was a difficult task.
Chief, there was one person who described it as not surprising at all if instead of 2 fatalities and 100+ people rescued, those 2 figures would have been inverted, given just the scale of what you were up against. How miraculous is it? It sounds like you had 120 residents, then all these employees as well, that had to be evacuated from the building in a matter of minutes. To you, was that sort of a Herculean task, and can you speak to the heroism involved?
Yeah, I was here when we were still removing, our officers and firefighters were still removing people from the building. I've never seen such heroism. They were running into a building that I could, from 50 feet away, can still smell gas and walls that looked like they were going to fall down. And they were still going in the building to recover people. They couldn't walk. They were in wheelchairs. Some people couldn't talk. This could have been a much more serious catastrophe.
Could have been much worse if you weren't as close with the hospital, with the firehouse and stuff like that.
I can only say that our response was very swift, and the actions of everybody involved helped preserve life.
Can you share how long it took them to turn the gas off at the facility? Yeah.
I cannot comment on that at this time.
Where were the people who died? Were they in that collapsed part of the building?
We recovered 1 employee from that section of the building.
And the resident, do you know where they were?
I can't comment on that at this time.
We heard the governor yesterday talk about the heroism. One officer had 2 individuals on their back, bringing them out of the facility. Was that a member of the Bristol Township Police Department?
It was.
Okay. Can we talk to them?
They're not currently working today. We could probably make them available.
How long have they been with the department for?
Over 20 years.
For 20 years. And their title, officer, lieutenant, sergeant?
A sergeant in charge of our narcotics division.
So that collapse, was that in the cafeteria, the kitchen area?
It was. It is the area where the cafeteria and kitchen are located, and underneath of that is some utility areas and offices.
Were you able to say that the fire had begun in that utility area underneath?
We don't know yet the origin of the explosion.
What's that going to look like over the next 24 hours and coming days?
So the heavy machinery has engaged, starting to remove the collapsed ceiling and walls. So we're hoping that within the next couple of hours, we have access into the building to start the investigation. We'll know at that point how much further we have to go.
Does it look like
in recent weeks you have not been there for any sort of
I do not recall the fire department responding.
Historically, in the last several years?
I have no idea. I don't recall.
Does it look like the entire structure is going to be torn down?
I don't think so. I can say that we've certainly been there for like fire alarm activations and assisting EMS on significant medical calls, but I don't recall anything more significant than that off the top of my head.
What does the damage look like inside the building?
On the wing closest to where the explosion was, there's windows blown out, ceiling tiles are dropped, those types of things.
We saw that some backhoes were brought in, some large machinery, but it looked like they stopped at some point. Was there concerns about integrity of the building? What happened there?
No, it's just a methodical process. Move some things, get eyes on it, get photographs, move some more, get eyes on it and photographs. It's a process.
Chief Winnick, you talked about the incredible response. The fact that this rescue squad station is right here, literally across the street. How much did that hasten the emergency response?
It was incredible. They were there immediately assisting our officers. We didn't know how bad it was. Our officers arrived and they said send everybody. We knew by the tone of the voice in the officers that this was a pretty serious incident.
Can you remember the last time, or was there a time where you had this large of a response in Bristol?
Never. I've been here almost 20 years. Talked to several other officers and command staff that have been doing this longer than me, and they've never seen anything like it in this area.
And
Were
double
any
checking,
first
can you
respond-
confirm any of the names of the victims?
We cannot at the time.
Were any first responders injured?
No.
The person who is in critical condition right now, is that the same individual that was resuscitated?
No.
I spoke with some people who live in the community around. They said that they started jumping in the immediate aftermath to help out some of your officers, moving some people away. Can you confirm that? And if so, like, what does that say about the community here?
Well, Bristol Township is one of those types of communities where we all come together. Everybody recognizes we had a problem, and there's a lot of people at risk. People know what type of facility this is, and there's a lot of people in need. I can't confirm that they were definitely residents because we had employees from the building as well helping, and we had nurses coming from the hospital. We had people from all over assisting, so it was a tremendous effort from everybody in Bucks County.
Were the families of the victims who died notified already?
Yes, they have.
And how long might it take for us to know who these people were?
So right now, for that to be released, Philadelphia Coroner has that information, and Bucks County Coroner, I would refer you to them, those agencies, for that information. All right, I want to thank everybody for coming. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
So that was the latest from Pennsylvania officials on that explosion, that nursing home explosion that killed 2 people, now confirming that essentially almost 20 people are injured here. So obviously, I mean, here's some video from it. Just a devastating explosion here, and a devastating scene. So we're going to hope to get more updates, but as you heard, there's still a lot of investigating to do, a lot of cleanup to do, as you're looking at here, because of the nature of this scene. We've got some more national and local stories to get to, so stick with us. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back. Approaching 12:45 on your Christmas Eve, but Santa, it's a lot later for him. He's in the UAE, heading for Oman right now. So he's in the Middle East delivering presents, as it is, of course, night there. We have been tracking him all morning long since we were in break as we tossed to our midday show. He passed, and I mean, quite a quite past demolished his current time of 2 billion presents. My goodness, a lot of numbers. It's going up, as you can see in the top right corner there, 2.4 almost billion presents delivered. Busy man. Gonna be a little bit toasty by the time he makes it here tonight, but as you can see, he's going all over the place. We've seen him in Australia, seen him in Japan, South Korea. So starting in the places where it's night, and then he'll head our way with Rudolph leading the way. Speaking of, though, Christmas, of course, presents, end of year finances we also want to mention. So our financial expert, Mark Henry, breaks down everything people need to know.
And so the giving season is upon us, isn't it? Many people like to give around this time of year, and that's great because really, despite a weird or uneven economy, we have managed to see $600 billion in charity donations in 2024 alone. So that giving spirit continuing, and that's really great. But local financial professional, he does teach us though, doesn't he? Mark Henry from Alloy Wealth Management is here talking about some of the strategies that we can really make the most of charities and making donations, and then giving. It's the gift of giving. Then you also give yourself. But let's talk about charities first, Mark. How you doing?
Fabulous. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming into the Live Impact studio. This time of year is so great for charitable donations. Why this time of year?
It's like 60% of it all happens in this final quarter, and so there's a lot of reasons for that. I think obviously the holiday season and Christmas and all the fun stuff that goes along with that, but it's also people do think about, well, if I give, I will get the tax break. So there's some tax benefits to get it in before the end of the year, and so I think that has a lot to do with it all happening right here at the end in the season, and people just seem to be happier. I wish we could be this way all year long this season, right? But there are some things you can do, Jane, to make it better. And so when you say make it better, what do you mean? Well, like for instance, if you're over 70 and a half and you know you're going to be giving to charitable organizations, maybe it's your church and you're going to tithe. Well, why wouldn't you do that through a qualified charitable distribution? So you're taking money out of your IRA and having it go directly to where you want it to go, to that nonprofit, to that church, to whatever it is you're passionate about. Well, the idea behind that then is because you did it that way, it no longer hits your 1040 provisional line on your tax return. And so, really cool stuff's going on now. It's not raising your income. You're not only getting the tax break, but you're not paying taxes on that withdrawal of the IRA. And you most likely will be paying less for your Medicare premium because you lowered your income. And remember, Medicare premiums are based on that 1040 line, the provisional line on that tax return. So you're getting some benefits out of giving.
All right, good to know. But now this time of year, can you still, is there enough time to sort of configure that, or that's part of our 2026 planning?
Well, it could be both. You could still make that gift before the end of the year, absolutely, and do it that way. Absolutely, it could. And of course, open a donor advised fund. Again, this is a way that there's processes involved, but you can open a donor advised funds where you contribute to that, and then you use that throughout the year to make these charitable distributions. And of course, I like doing it year long rather than all at one time, because you're most likely to hit your goal of what you really do want to give if you do it systematically.
Okay, so is there a cap to tax deductions?
Yeah, there is. Like anything, you have to look at the rules and stuff. Like on your qualified charitables, coming out of your IRA, it's $108,000. So, but again, always look at the professionals, ask and get your facts before you do it. But the reality is, why not give and make it beneficial for yourself? You get something out of it. That's kind of cool. Besides the giving part.
That's right.
That we get.
I mean, and yeah, let's stay on this giving theme, because we should also give to ourselves. What do you mean by that?
Well, it's this time of year we're so interested in buying the gifts for everyone. And maybe there's a new suit that I want, or a new pair of shoes that you want, or something. And that's all great too. So we decide while we're buying, we might as well get something for else. But I like this idea of, why don't we pay ourselves first? So many people get it backwards. They pay the mortgage. Well, of course you have to pay your mortgage payment, your rent payment, your car payment, your credit cards. I get all that. But if you're going to do all this work, why wouldn't you pay yourself first? The first person that needs to get paid after the taxes are taken out of your check and you finally get that check is decide how much you're going to pay yourself in 2026. And sometimes people will say, well, Mark, if I do that, there won't be any money left to pay all the bills. Well, then we may have a spending problem. But if I'm going to do the work, I feel like I should get paid for it.
Right. So when you say pay yourself first, that is putting money away.
Correct.
Into a savings account.
That's right. Or the 401 or the, whatever it is. There's still people, believe it or not, that their companies match on their 401, Janie. You're not going to believe this. They match 3%, let's say, and there's people not putting money in it. Do you know you're turning down a 3% pay raise by not contributing when your employer matches?
Right.
We got to fix these things in 26.
Right. And then when you do contribute to your IRA, that is also not a tax deduction, but that doesn't, right? That's
well, it
off
comes
your
off
income?
your taxes if it's going to that, or maybe you should talk to the HR department. Your 401 for 26 may have a Roth 401 offered now, and that might be even better for your plan. Again, you can contribute to the Roth, not get a break on your taxes this year, but that's money you'll never pay taxes on in the future.
Okay, so when you say maybe we have a spending problem,
Yeah.
and I would like to pay myself, what does that look like in practical terms for the average person who gets, an average income?
Right. Well, and again, regardless of the income, I see this for everyone. In fact, sometimes it's even worse on the higher incomes because they simply have a bigger spending issue.
Spend more, yeah.
Right. They have a bigger one, so it doesn't mean the income determines it. But when I think about this idea of paying yourself first, if we have a spending problem, we have to get on a spending plan. I hate to think about the word budget because I've worked really hard I don't want to live on a budget. But I do have to live on a spending plan, and I get to choose where my money goes. Well, that's how you should start 2026, deciding, hey, okay, I want to do this. I want to pay myself first. First, we have to know where's the money going.
Yeah.
Where is it going? Let's figure it out. Then let's get rid of the credit card debt, the student debt, whatever is holding us down and keeping us from hitting our goals and having what we call a confident financial future.
Okay, let's talk about the future. 2026, uncertain at best.
Yes.
We have maybe some tools that might help us, like AI, but who knows? A potential government shutdown. I hate to say it again.
Could happen.
And these Affordable Care Act credits are expected to go up for a lot of millions of Americans. All right, so let's talk about first things first in trying to get our financial house in order, Mark.
Yeah. January is a great time. People think of the new year and all, but I really like the idea of doing some of this in December before the year end, especially in the holidays, because you can talk to your family. You have aging parents. Maybe it's time to talk to them about their finances, and it's time to take a look at yours. Remember, in December, we typically get what's known as the Santa bump, followed by the January slump. It's cyclical. It seems like the markets seem to really go up at the holiday spending, and it looks like people are doing their job and they're spending plenty. Haven't seen earnings reports, but it looks like it's going well. But then that's typically followed by a January slump. Well, here's the idea. Is it time to rebalance our stocks? If we're younger, are we being aggressive enough in our 401? And I mean that. You're young. You should be aggressive, and you can't use the money anyway. Let's go make money. Well, the market may fall. It not may fall, it will fall. But that's okay as long as you're investing in your 401, because then you'll be buying really cool stuff on sale.
Okay, right.
But now I'm in my 50s, and I'm thinking about retirement in 5 years or 10 years, or I'm already retired. Hey, it's been a great year. We have to take a hard look at what we've done and take profit off the table right now. It's a good time to be saying, hey, I had a good year. I need to rebalance. I need to take some profit off the table. I need to put it where I won't lose it in this potential next 2026 with the things you mentioned earlier.
Okay, very good. So it depends on where you are in life.
That's right.
To make those next moves, and a good conversation to have with family members. Hey, you know what? You've got a week off maybe. A lot of people are going to have some conversations on the side, and maybe that might just be a good time to go ahead and reconsider your next moves for 2026. Any final thoughts as we head into the new year then, Mark? What should we look for or keep a heads up?
Well, this journey you're on you're not alone. Millions, if you think nobody understands how tough it is, yeah, they do. Other people are doing it. So I really like the idea of accountability partners in 26. I know it helps me personally, and I've seen others. Loud budgeting, where you tell your family and friends what you want to do in 26. But at the end of the day, remember, you can do this.
All right, welcome back to here in the Live Impact studio. It was just Mark Henry speaking to our Jane Monreal about year-end tips for your finances. Of course, though, gifts aren't all on the parents. Santa helps out. Right now, he is still in Central Asia. He was just in Azerbaijan, now headed to Georgia in about 25 seconds. I really love that in the top right corner, you can just see how many presents we're approaching 2.5 billion, going up by the millisecond. Busy guy, got a lot going on today. We're going to keep checking back in with Santa, but first, a quick message from our friends at the International Space Station. Here's a holiday message from the astronauts up there right now.
Greetings to planet Earth, all of our friends and family from Expedition 74 aboard the International Space Station, flying high above, thinking of you during this holiday season. During this season, it's about spending time with family and friends and enjoying time together and reflecting on the year that we've just had. And what a great year it's been for us as astronauts aboard the Expedition 74 and previously Expedition 73. It's also a little bit sad because we're not with our families at the time. But actually we are. We're with our space family. So we're okay. And we're looking forward to spending the holidays together. And not just together up here aboard the space station, but all of our friends at the mission control centers across the planet in Houston and Huntsville and Munich and Moscow and Tsukuba, Japan. We're all going to celebrate the holidays together, and we're happy to share it with you.
One of the special things about the holidays is traditions, and while we're all away from our traditions at home, we get to enjoy some new traditions on board. So as you can see, we've got a little bit of decoration here. We've got a little tree, and we've also hung some boots by the airlock with cheer. So, you know, we get to make some new traditions here, and that's something that's really nice and special, and we're really glad to be able to do.
I think for each of us here, this won't be the first time that we spend the holidays away from family for various reasons, but exactly like Mike said, it's so special for us to share the holidays with each other here in orbit and with all of the teams taking care of us on the ground. So we also want to say a great thank you to the families who are lending these crew members to us, and a thank you to those in mission control who will spend their holidays taking care of us, and to their families at home as well. It's incredibly special to be up here. I think we may be orbiting a little higher than Santa is flying, though.
Yeah, holiday season is also very important for Japanese people. Yeah, in Japan, amazingly, actually we celebrate Christmas and also New Year again also. And because of everybody's support, actually, we are away from family members, but actually we have good family, just like family, crew members, and also grand support. So we are very comfortable to live here. And in addition to that, probably I'll provide a lot of Japanese food for you guys, yeah, to celebrate holiday season. So looking forward to it. Thank you.
I just have to say, everyone, I love their hats. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Live Impact News. As I said, we're checking back in with Mr. Santa. He's a busy guy already since we last talked. Another million presents delivered. More than that, actually. I think like 150 million presents delivered. Right now, he's heading to Bahrain. He was just in Iran again. So he is kind of bouncing back and forth. He's not staying in the same country at once. He is bouncing around, making sure he's getting to the right places at the right time. Some countries have multiple time zones like we do in the U.S. So he's going to bounce around, jump back and forth. I think earlier we saw him go from China to Australia, then back to China. So he's got this whole planned out. We're going to keep checking back in. Actually, though, we spoke with Chris Mulcahy earlier with a breakdown of your forecast. It's going to be a little toasty for Santa, so no need to make the fires all warm for him. Leave out some milk and cookies, but I would keep the fireplace calm because Santa does not need any extra heat. It's going to be 75 degrees today. Here's Chris Mulcahy's forecast. Speaking of festive, we got our Chris Mulcahy here. Also, yeah.
This is my typical Wednesday guard. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's actually a little toasty for this on a Wednesday today.
Oh, no, seriously, though. Well, the good thing is it's a cheap suit, so... actually, it's really not too bad. I got this about 11 years ago, and being honest with you, a little behind-the-scenes thing, I have been sucking it in all morning because it is tight. But at least it kind of fits, and it's super festive. So my ugly sweater suit just in time because it's the only festive thing that I can do for the weather department today.
Well, we were just talking before the show started when I was opening up with, is it Happy Christmas or Merry Christmas Eve?
Okay,
Happy Christmas Eve, Merry Christmas.
I hear Happy Christmas Eve, Merry Christmas.
Right.
But I'm not mad when people say Merry Christmas Eve. But I think it's happy.
Yeah, I know. It's like it's different. It doesn't roll off the tongue the same way when it's Merry Christmas Eve.
Well, because I guess that you want to be happy that you're anticipating Christmas, but then all of a sudden, once Christmas is there, all of a sudden you're merry status.
Merry is.
Wait, hold on.
Set for, it's like special for the day of.
I want to, let's really dive into this. So, the definition for merry is cheerful and lively.
Oh. That does sound like you.
Yeah, well, I feel very merry right now. Well, and I guess that's the point. So I guess it's maybe a little bit different that you just want to be happy, and then it sets at a different bar.
Also, a merry early birthday.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Actually,
lots to celebrate this week.
Shout out to Majestic, and I didn't know they made these. She found a card that said "Happy Merry Birthday."
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, I was just saying, I didn't know the cards came out there. So, hey, to all my Christmas birthday brethren and sisterhood, I do appreciate you. But also, it's not just Christmas. I feel like anyone that has a birthday either side of Christmas still kind of gets absorbed into the whole Christmas holiday. For me, I just kind of forget about it. So, Merry Christmas, and thank you very much. Okay, let's get to the forecast, y'all. So, it has been a warm stint, and we already saw it yesterday. But I got records for us. Ooh. Today isn't going to be record tying. It's going to be a record breaking day. 75 degrees. Yesterday exceeded expectations. I think we're doing it again. We pick up more clouds a little bit later on in the day. And then across the board, we're warm. 77 for you in Lancaster. 76 over in Charlotte. 61 in Boone is astronomical.
Whoa.
Yeah, so this is the warmest Christmas Eve of all time across the board, the way that I'm seeing here. And actually, there's a lot of the country that's dealing with the warmest Christmas or Christmas Eve that they ever had. Now, this brings us to our merry evening traditions or happy traditions, whatever you're feeling. I think merry is going to be satisfactory for this at least. Either side of 60 degrees. I went to McAdenville yesterday, and I do want to stop here for 1 second. And we left Northwest Charlotte, and it said it was going to take about 45 minutes to get there. And I was like, okay, no problem. Then all of a sudden, traffic stopped on 45, and it said it's going to take 45 minutes to get there. 30 minutes later, it said it's going to take 45 minutes to get there.
No.
It literally, by the time we got done in parking and stuff like that, by the time we actually were walking and everything like that, I swear it was about 2 hours. So
that hurts so bad.
So what am I saying to you is if this was your plan, I just was waiting. I weathermanned. I was waiting for the warmest opportunity, and I knew I couldn't do it on Christmas Eve, but I didn't realize it's right before Christmas Eve. So this is my suggestion. If you want to do it, for one, go when it's daylight. Maybe have lunch and just settle out there. Because the two main places that people park, and the second one is kind of like they know about it. But the first one is going to be the McAdenville, I think is it a middle school or elementary school? I'm forgetting, but it's McAdenville School just outside. And then there's also the Food Lion a lot of people park at. I parked at an empty lot across the street from Food Lion. So those are the kind of the secret spots that people park.
That's
so
the insider scoop.
That's the insider scoop. But the traffic is so bad, like literally right now, traffic is bad heading that direction in general. So if you are planning, leave an hour earlier than you were planning just to park. So that's just my advice. I don't want you sitting in traffic for a majority of your Christmas Eve.
You did that at night, and then you still woke up early for morning show, and you're still this energetic. That really is merry.
Yeah, my wife, I sent a picture. I was like, the suits keep me merry and more awake. And she's like, no, I know you. I can tell your face is tired. And I was like, you are right. Because I didn't go to bed until like 11 and got back up at 1:30. So, well, it's my superpower. I can survive off very little sleep.
It's very impressive.
But then all of a sudden, I will old man fall asleep sitting up on you. So just letting you know.
And I think that's respectable given the situation.
Oh, what? Sorry. Okay, let's move on. I do want to ask you before I move on, does anyone have any Christmas Eve traditions that they have done in the past or still do? James Brierton, you have the floor.
I'd have to get a microphone, Chris. We used to go to my grandparents' house and have the classic Italian, 7 fish course meal. But I didn't like fish, so.
Is it really 7 different fish?
I think so.
Whoa.
I think so.
I didn't know about
I don't
this.
know about that either.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you?
We just do, everyone gets pajamas Christmas Eve night.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. So my parents are in town, actually, from Cincinnati.
And are you getting pajamas?
I don't know if we're doing it this year. It'll be a fun surprise.
Ooh, that would be nice. For us, we just get Chinese food.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
too.
a lot of people do that. That's
Like the Santa Claus movie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we have, I think as far as I can remember, Kim's family did as well, so that worked out for a crossover. And then actually, my dad did it with his dad, so it's the kind of nice little family tradition. Also, if anyone's writing in, I'm still looking for a great Chinese food restaurant across here. I found a lot of good ones, but I'm talking about wow. I'm gonna fall next level. So I'm looking for you. If you're out there, let me know. Okay, so here we go. Ho ho ho! Night before Christmas, and all through the house, there were cookies to be eaten, and it was super warm. We have 52 degrees. I was too lazy. I guess I'm too tired to actually rhyme right now. No need for the fire, honestly, and no chestnuts roasting. And even hot chocolate might be a little bit warm for a lot of people. If you're doing anything, have the windows down. It's going to be sensational. But when Old St. Nick arrives, we're expecting temperatures to drop down the upper to the mid 50s, but it's at this point we are going to allow for a little bit of cloud cover and rain to move in. So here's what it looks like. Today, we get more clouds to end the day, gets cloudier in the evening, which actually puts a cap on our warm-up. So what I was trying to get to, and of course I get way too distracted, McAdenville, I was walking around, I had a light flannel on, I rolled up my sleeves, it was so warm.
Yeah.
So around 60 degrees, especially if you're walking, your body's naturally heating up. Keep that in mind, don't overdress, especially for tonight and the next couple. And once you get to the overnight, we are looking at a chance for rain, but most likely you're going to be sleeping. Hopefully the wrapping's done, or else you're going to be very tired when the kids wake you up super early. But we are looking at a very little bit of light rain to, I would say, between about midnight and 5. Then after that, the clouds break. So don't be surprised if you look out the window, it looks gloomy. It'll get better. More detail, though, because Santa's flying. He's not taking a taxi. He's not driving his Prius. Rooftops temps are going to be in the upper 50s, so it's a little bit warmer there with a wind about 10 miles per hour. A mile up in the atmosphere, temperatures in the upper 40s. And then looking at about 15 to 17,000 feet, winds at about 60 miles per hour that gives an extra boost, but temperatures are above freezing. That's how warm we are, that it's not just here at the surface. The entire atmosphere is at a warmer level than what it usually is. And whenever you have an above average upper atmosphere, that usually leads to some historic highs, and that's exactly what we're seeing. One of the warmest of all time for Christmas. I have another high of 75 degrees. I've been mentioning my grilling forecast because it is absolutely, and I'm going to actually bring that one up. We're going to pull an audible, because for the first time in my career, I've actually been able to put Christmas lights on a grilling forecast. So check it out. I'm calling this my Christmas cookout. And yes, this is what I'm doing. I've decided. So during the afternoon, I am a big cheeseburger connoisseur. So I'm actually going to grill up some burgers for the middle of the afternoon. Like, why not? Like, a lot of people are saying, oh, I wanted it to be cold, maybe more festive. festive. It's like, forget about that. It's always next year. Enjoy the warm weather, because if you are out there enjoying yourself, running around, maybe use the toys that thought you had to wait until spring to use, get outside and enjoy it. Plus, just 15 minutes of sunshine is nice enough to give you some vitamin D and allow for some serotonin to be produced in the brain.
And it is going to get chillier later, so if you're disappointed with the forecast now, don't worry.
Yep.
Come back.
What goes up must come down. And it's actually going to get cooler before that than you really think. So the warmest Christmases of all time, if 75 does verify, which is a very good shot, looks like that will solidify the number 2 spot, but I think regardless, this is going to be in the top 3 warmest on record. Now, for our rain chances, there is a slight chance for rain on Friday. And I actually think this is perfect, because people are going to be out and about. The day after Christmas, people go to the movies.
Yeah.
People do stuff like that. Maybe the kids want to stay in and play with their toys. This is going to be a perfect opportunity, and there will be another chance for rain on Sunday heading into Monday. So I want to get to the big changes we see. It's called cold air damming. It's the only time I can say dam on air without it being criticized. It's
this
a
is
dam.
The stream, no rules.
Yes, yeah, exactly. It's a dam of cold air that is built up and backed up, held against the mountains. That's the definition of a dam, and it stays in place. So it's going to allow for a constant cloud cover, because check it out. We have widespread clouds with on and off rain. So I think your Friday is going to be misty with some areas of drizzle. It will feel damp. It'll be overcast, no sunshine. But since we're starting off warmer, it's still going to be a relatively warmer day to either side of 60 degrees. I have 61, I think, is what I've been saying all morning. I'm already forgetting. I truly think that might even be too warm, depending on how big that is. Now, once this breaks, we're seeing another surge of warm air. We're back to 76. So this will be another record breaker. But then Sunday is the transition day. This is also hopefully the transition day for the Carolina Panthers, maybe transitioning to the playoffs. So we'll see. But temperatures will cool down big time in the backside of this. But then here is what Julie was talking about. By Tuesday, 44 degrees and the mid to the upper 20s for lows. That will hurt, because our lows over the next few days are in the lower 50s. That's where our highs should be. So our highs are going to be colder than that, and our lows are going to be about 30 degrees colder. So these warm-ups are great. I love them, but at the end, they're kind of mean, because people are like, oh, I want more of that, but then you have to most likely wait months for a historic run like this.
That's true. It gives you a little taste.
And the way we started off December and the way we ended November was in the upper 40s to around 50 degrees. We actually went 12 days in a row. The temperatures were at 50 or below that. We're going to start that again to end December and begin January. So it's going to be a chilly start. But oftentimes we have the advantage from the Climate Prediction Center. So what this does is it picks up on atmospheric patterns. So it's going to be ebbs and flows in the jet stream. Is it more warm air, or is it more of a polar plunge happening? It does look like there's going to be another big ridge that's going to allow for above average temperatures in the central part of the country. So there is a chance by at least week number 2 of January that things should start to trend back up. So this is not as long of a cool down as what we had, but things are still all over the place. And I'm going to end with one more stat that I dug up. I did a new update on our average temperature for the year, and we have now officially moved up the rankings. So officially we are tied for the 8th warmest year on record. 2024 was the warmest on record, averaging 62.9 degrees. Since we're going to be so warm over the next few days, I do think that that is going to stick. So overall, a warm year, but at the buzzer, we moved up just enough to tie the 8th spot.
Interesting. Okay. It's going to be divisive, I think. Interesting to see what people will think, if they like the warm weather or if they wanted the colder. But if there's no chance for a white Christmas, I'm like, might as well be really warm.
Do you want to see where there's a chance for a white Christmas?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So I made this graphic earlier, and this will be the last thing I'll have for you guys. All right. So here is a look at our snow forecast models and travel forecast across the United States. And we're going to specify this. I'm not going to just show you a big map. So this right here shows you the forecasted snow for mainly the morning. Because in my opinion, the most magical thing is when you have falling snow on Christmas morning.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's happened once in my life, and I even lived in New England, so that's just saying something. And speaking of New England, that is where we have to head first for, I think, our first chance for snow. So in northern Maine, we are looking at a chance for snow. Where are we looking right now, actually, James? Where was that?
That was in the New England area.
That was New England? See? Now, this is the problem, and James knows this. A white Christmas has a controversial definition even per National Weather Service office. There's two definitions. There's one, to have an inch of fresh snow at least on the ground, or two, to have actively falling snow. Some people think you have to have active falling snow up to an inch. So
drama.
Yeah, no, it's tough. It's like if Die Hard's a Christmas movie or not. You don't want to get in the middle of it. You don't want to get involved.
I've never seen that movie.
I've never seen it either.
Okay, this is a safe space for that then.
And a lot of people probably just scoffed. No. But where James was just showing us, that is our first stop for our chance for a white Christmas. Check it out. Technically, it's white right now, and that is fresh snow that actively fell. But I think that we're going to see more overnight heading into tomorrow. So that does include also Burlington, Vermont. Montpelier, I think it's going to be in the cusp. Bangor, Maine, looking good with even some sunshine after that. Boston, not so much. Now we move over to Montana. Now this one's interesting. West Yellowstone, which, fun fact, I lived there for a couple years of my young life.
I was forgot about that.
Yeah, it was cool. Antelope playing in the backyard. The buffalo wandered in my front yard a couple of times. Buffalo pies are huge, by the way, and bald eagles flying above. So it was a majestic place to live, to say the least.
People eat the buffaloes?
Oh, no. Buffalo pie means buffalo poo. That's what they call them. Yeah.
Carry on.
Okay, we'll move on. No, I don't know about, but actually people do. It's bison burgers. A lot of people do actually eat that. All right, we'll move on.
That's enough of that.
That's enough of that. For our next stop for our white Christmas, here it is. We have some snow chances really in the western and northwestern side of Wyoming, and there is a slight chance for a little bit of snow in between here and West Yellowstone. Not a lot of populations. Jackson Hole, Wyoming was looking at a really good shot. I think some of the higher elevations might be able to see it. There's also another spot over in Chalice, and that's Idaho, and the best chance, in my opinion, is really the mountains of California, because they're dealing with epic flooding over in California from the atmospheric river. And when you're driving moisture up the mountain, well, it's going to drive some heavier snow. So they're actually seeing some heavy snow. And here's a look at an accident that's actually happening over in California, for instance. This is a bad situation because, like we've seen with Helene, and I always use this as a benchmark, Helene was so bad because of the epic rain we saw before, and then you put epic rain on top of that. If you continue to put big rain on top of big rain, it turns to massive, it turns to extreme, and then it turns to historic. That's exactly what's happening here, and there's actually another reason for this as well, and it all has to do with the wildfires, believe it or not. So if we can bring up this graphic, James. So oftentimes after there's a wildfire, and this is for mudslides that I built this explainer, but it means the same thing. So burning plants, especially some of the ones with the chemical competition out in California, it releases chemicals into the soil. These chemicals are actually very waxy. So what it does is it forms a very thin layer that's water resistant. Picture a slip and slide material pretty much starts to form on top of the surface. So what happens is water can't sink down below, so it accumulates above and it races down. What's happening right now, not necessarily mudslides, even though I think that that's going to be a big cause of concern over the next couple of days, all that water that is now accumulating as it's going up the mountains. So picture water that's falling in Hickory. Well, it's coming down the rivers and it's swelling everything downstream. And then meanwhile, those streams are picking up more rain, which is just almost like a traffic jam of water. So as that's all accumulating, soil and rocks can also slide off, and that could lead up to a buildup of water and some mudslides. But what's happening here is because of the wildfires, there's a lot of this water that's rushing down extra fast on top of the atmospheric river that is just a kind of a perfect storm that's happening here. The problem with California is they either get no rain or all the rain, and that's been, I think, the biggest cause of concern, because the atmospheric river, you call it, is also known as the Pineapple Express. It just brings a tremendous amount of moisture that's usually responsible for up to 60% of their daily rainfall. The problem is if it stays for multiple days, scenarios like what you've been seeing over the last couple of days stick.
You are a busy man, Chris.
Oh,
There's a
thank
lot
you.
going on.
There's a lot in my head.
Going on right now.
And there's a reason why also whenever you hear me speak, I go in so many different directions, like asking about traditions and stuff like that. Because there's a lot of facts in here. So that's why I like being here in the Impact Studio, guys, because you let me talk and get it all out.
Well, we do have some updated reports from our news partners out in LA that we'll get to in a bit. So
Okay.
all that stuff that you just mentioned is the exact stuff that we're touching on. And another
Okay.
live look. My gosh, you can see that flooding.
Wow.
And those cars just stuck there.
Well, and the problem is a lot of people say like that rain right there because the windshield wipers aren't super busy.
Yeah.
That's a perfect soaking rain that just soaks into the soil. So that adds up more than you think. Some of our biggest rainfalls actually come from that rain compared to the over aggressive thunderstorms that a lot of it washes away. So yeah, that's just not a good situation. Yeah. So thoughts and prayers to a lot of people out there. Luckily, it looks like this atmospheric river is going to break down over the next couple of days.
Good.
So they're kind of nearing the end. We just have to hope that it doesn't set up in the near term.
Yeah, especially on Christmas. Definitely just a layered situation happening. A lot of people traveling too.
And the problem for that area also is what we're starting to do is a couple months from now, we start to up the Santa Ana winds. Have you ever heard of the Santa Ana winds? So that leads to a windy season. That leads to also fire season. So hopefully the soil stay moist enough. Yeah, no, it's a rough time in the Southwest because it's kind of one thing after another.
And since I got a chance to talk to Chris this morning, we have some updated live pictures from California. This is happening right now. One of our producers, Jeb, actually is from this area in California and said this river usually doesn't look anything like this at all.
No, at all, Julie. And I'll tell you that where that water is right now, for context, it's not like that's usually a stream or a low river. That is usually dry. That is built there to get river and rain runoff. That is absolutely historic. If you've seen the movie Grease, there's a very famous scene where Danny Zuko races the Grease Lightning, and it's kind of canal area, and they drove there. That's where that is. That is the same kind of canal river that water is in. My family, my dad is there right now, and he just texted me that they are currently shoveling water out of their backyard because the flooding is coming up to their home. They live in the San Fernando Valley. So it's just absolutely crazy. I mean, I've lived there for a number of years, and I cannot think of a time where there has been this much rain in this part of the world. And another thing that's worth noting, and we're going to see more stories about this, is after the California wildfires that happened earlier this year, a lot of the vegetation by Malibu and all of these areas kind of closer to the coast has been completely wiped out and hasn't had a chance to regrow. So with that area that's been so dry and so little vegetation, there's so many more landslides and mudslides. So a rain like this could be extremely catastrophic for the recovery areas in the Palisades and for really anyone within any dozens of miles of where those fires happen. So a very, very, very sad scene to see this holiday season.
Very scary. And I know that Chris mentioned, hopefully we're going to get a little bit of a break. But I mean, this live picture you're seeing, there's still some rain. The last one you saw some wind coming in. So unfortunately, it's not over yet for some areas. Hopefully where that, runoff was slows down because, I mean, you can see it's not very far from going over the barrier there. So hopefully we get some more information soon. Hopefully things calm down soon. I'm hoping we get an update from officials at some point today. I know that it's obviously a few hours earlier there, still in the morning, so we're expecting that later on today, but we're going to take a quick break and get back to this, the big story of the day, when we come back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Live Impact News, just a couple minutes away from 1:30 on your Christmas Eve. And we want to get to how people are celebrating all over the country. A unique school for the deaf and hard of hearing. They got a visit from Santa, unique kind of Santa who was able to sign with them. This is Nancy Alvarez out of Florida.
At first, it may look like just another stop on Santa's busy schedule, but look closely. This visit is enough to move a mom to tears.
It feels like Christmas magic.
Kaylee Warren's son Jax is one of dozens of kids in an extraordinary program at Lake Sibylla Elementary.
So we have the only self-contained deaf and hard of hearing unit in Orange County, so we transport kids from all over the county to this program.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
But beyond academics, the program works to empower kids.
So we try to make sure that they know that they deserve what every single person deserves. They have every right that everybody else has.
And that includes this yearly visit.
And some of the children, you know, they can hear, you know, they have the cochlear implants and they can hear my voice. And, you know, they can see me sign. And, you know, it's just a full experience for them.
The gift of being seen and heard, far more valuable than anything Santa will bring Christmas morning.
What does that mean for your heart as a mom? It means my child isn't left out. So, it means a lot.
Tears of gratitude, smiles that light up a room. A reminder, at Christmas and always, these kids deserve to be heard.
All right, we do want to get to some breaking news just into our newsroom in the last couple minutes here. This is from our news partners at WRAL. The Wilson Walmart is closed for investigation after reports of shots fired today. Now, we don't know much yet. This is still happening as we speak. And as I said, this is from our news partners out of Raleigh, and Wilson is about a little over 3 hours away from here. But still a scary scene. The store is evacuated just before noon. It's remaining closed for now while police investigate. We don't have much confirmed in terms of if there were actually shots or if it was just reports. Dispatchers, though, called on all units in the county, in the city. So this was obviously a really big scene. You can just see it there. Multiple police vehicles, dozens of officers and people there scrambling. Now, the Wilson Police Department has said this is not an active shooter situation. They're still asking people to avoid the area. Of course, really scary situation, especially on a big shopping day when presumably there were a lot of people inside. We're going to keep following this story as we get more information. We know WRAL has crews there and on the way. So we'll bring you updates once we get more. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Live Impact News, just past 1:32 here in the Impact Studio. I'm Julie Kay. We want to get out to one of our reporter stories of the day. Of course, everyone's excited for Christmas. All the kids are going to be going to bed early so they can wake up as early as possible, open up their presents under the tree. A lot of electronics that might be involved in that, but we do want to be aware of online safety as we get these new electronics, as technology develops. That's why we have our Jesse Pierre, who's been talking to child advocacy experts, technology experts about what parents need to know as we start the gifting process. That might include some new iPads, new iPhones, Jesse.
Exactly. Like you said, obviously a lot of kids, teens, they use those devices, cell phones, computers, tablets, iPads. I mean, the list goes on, right? To connect with friends and to also build community. However, there are some dangers and strangers online that they also can open the risk of connecting with. And I spoke with Pat's Place, they're a child advocacy center, and they kind of spoke to me about different advice and things parents should know. First off, age appropriate, but you should start having conversations about the strangers, the dangers behind the screen very early on. Again, someone can be a really good actor, and these predators are very skilled at pretending they are someone they are not, pretending and, trying to be your friend, pretending to be a kid. You're a 14-year-old and you think you're communicating with a 14-year-old on a gaming system, but it's an adult who is trying to build your trust. And the next thing you know, they're asking you for personal information and things like that. One of the things that Mary Catherine Elkins with the organization says, it's important for parents to make sure their kids know not to share personal information, personal details, things like your address, your email address. It also means not sharing too much about your family, right? If someone's trying to, is a predator, who knows what kind of things they can use as far as information about where your parents work and so forth to find out where you live. She also talks about the importance of not sharing personal images. You may think, whether or not this is a stranger, but you never know where a photo can end up, so private photos, even you think you're sending it to a partner, or, you might have a relationship in high school and so forth. But again, they might lose their phone can get hacked. And again, you just don't know where that phone can end, that picture can end up at the end of the day. Another thing she talks about too is, it's easy, we're using online and social media to connect and make friends all the time. So, you make a friend online and it's like, oh, let's meet up at this party. And it seems very natural. And she really talks about making sure to trust your instincts. And again, not everyone is who they say they are. So a lot of good advice, a lot of different things for parents to keep in mind, especially as kids are getting more connected. I did speak to a couple of parents. One parent said his advice, put the devices away. He said he's sick of kids on their phones all day and so forth. But a lot of parents I spoke to say they're using parental controls and restrictions, so they know what apps their children are visiting. And also, just kind of like when you ask your child, hey, how was soccer today? Also, how was online today? If you were on Facebook, who'd you speak to? Who were you connecting with? What games were you playing? Did you make any friends there? Making that part of the daily conversations, because the stronger the relationship you build with your kids, the easier and more comfortable they'll speak with you if there's ever an issue that comes up,
Yeah, and that makes sense too. I think it's funny what you said about the parent saying, just get off the phone. But, kids are even getting access to this in school. Of course, when you have a Chromebook or something like that, technology in school, it's very restricted. But it is part of life now. It's part of education now. And so it's hard to avoid it, even if they're not getting technology on Christmas.
Exactly. iPads. I mean, I see the kids with the iPads all day, and they're playing with the iPad, but you never know if they click on something else, and so it's just about making sure it's all about awareness.
Absolutely. Well, Jesse, we'll have your story again at 4, 5, and 6. We'll let you get back to working on that, but thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Julie. Bye.
All right, we're going to get to that California weather story again. This is some breaking news that we just got in. There's now a tornado warning out of California. This is, I believe, downtown LA. Jeb, if you don't want to mind, I want to pull you back in as you're more familiar with this area than I am. But this is, I mean, just look at that radar. That is shocking to look at it.
It's absolutely wild, and I think it's important to acknowledge that California as a whole, while we have seen some significant rain events throughout the year, generally speaking, it's been very dry. It hasn't seen rain like this in a very, very long time. So we look at this, and it's truly breathtaking to put into context how much rain we have seen. I mean, you are seeing rivers and streams and creeks and homes that have been dry and arid for such a long time, absolutely swelling. I mean, that can't handle much more rain, and it takes a lot of rain to get there. I'm looking at where some of these strongest winds and storms are, and it's interesting. A lot of them are in Pasadena and kind of towards the center of the area. I mean, Los Angeles and Los Angeles County is massive. I mean, there are millions of people.
Just looking at that, it looks like a whole state in itself.
Right. It's absolutely crazy, and it's important to know that right now, end of the year, one of the biggest things going on in the preparation is the Rose Parade, and those preparations actually begin right now. They've been going on for the last several weeks, and while many of the floats, which are comprised of the roses and whatnot, are in are under warehouses, there's still tons of decorations, the seating, all this kind of stuff. And if you see some of the damage that's already been done by the severe winds, and that's what's always the worst in any storm. We have the same thing here in Charlotte. You see it out in Los Angeles as well. The winds are absolutely wild. The lines aren't built to withstand strong, storm-style winds. So we saw earlier a tornado warning for that Pasadena, All-Amber, Monterey Park, Rosemid area. That has since expired, according to the National Weather Service from James.
I can show on radar.
Yeah, bring that up.
Where the tornado warning was. There's a lot of colors happening right now on the screen.
That was fast, because I know we just got that in right before we talked to Jesse, and then it went away. So it was very brief. It was still scary. I
mean, I'm shocked that they're even. I mean, I can't imagine. I don't know that there's been a tornado in Los Angeles in my lifetime. I know there's been very few in California as a whole. There was one in Scotts Valley, I think, last year, the year before, which is up in Northern California. And that was absolutely bizarre.
Yeah, it was very brief. The warning was only out for about 10 or 15 minutes. Now, they still have a severe thunderstorm warning, and I'm going to outline it here with the telestrator. This is just on the east side of Los Angeles. This is also that same area where the tornado warning was. So a severe thunderstorm warning does still mean it has the potential for 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds. But when we look at velocity, which is the radar's interpretation of radar, right about in there where we have that cluster of that light red inside the otherwise green area, that's the area of rotation that the Weather Service was looking at and was a little bit worried about, which prompted them to issue that tornado warning. But again, no confirmation that a tornado was underground, no initial reports of damage, so they've transitioned from a tornado warning to a severe thunderstorm warning, which, Jeb, for your family in the area, I mean, a severe thunderstorm warning, as we often say here, right, it's like that is still
that's very seriously.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, I think we hear severe thunderstorm warning here in North Carolina, and we just that's a part of what we see when we have strong weather. There aren't really thunderstorms in Southern California. I didn't see my first real lightning until I was a teenager and I went to Florida.
Interesting.
Like we don't have the same in California that we have here. So I don't know what it looks like. Obviously it's early, so I'm sure they're not seeing lightning. But that thunder I'm hearing from my dad, who's keeping me updated, is absolutely roaring. And I'm seeing reports here that there have been wind gusts up to 70 to 80 miles an hour, which I have never seen in Southern California.
I can confirm that there's no lightning being detected with this thunderstorm.
Okay, good.
Which would make it a thunderstorm. But by definition, when the National Weather Service issues a severe thunderstorm warning, lightning is not a criteria. It's either for damaging wind or hail. But in this case, it's definitely the wind threat.
Yeah. All right. Well, that checks out. Because this is crazy. This could be the most rain this area has seen since 1889. I'm seeing that statistic now, which is crazy.
Your dad, he is not necessarily in this area where the tornado warning was.
No. Yes, he's south.
But he is in the area where they had fires.
Yes.
And that's going to impact things as well. Last we heard from him was that he was shoveling water.
Yes,
he's
been to Home Depot twice today. I mean, no one I don't think was they had issued the warnings. They'd issued a lot of warnings like this before. I don't think people understood how severe the rain and how quickly it was going to come. So he's actually been to Home Depot twice today to get pumps to pump out the water that's been gathering in our backyard, which is absolutely crazy.
Well, what's unfortunate too is, James, if you wouldn't mind going back to that camera real quick, this one right here, we were looking at it earlier and saying, wow, that's a lot of rain, but thankfully it's slowed down. It's back. It started raining here again. Not super duper heavy, but you can kind of see it if you look closely into the camera.
Oh, yeah.
Which is absolutely not what this needs, because it's very close to breaching over the sides of the barriers.
Right, and I honestly, I don't even know if that's possible.
I don't either.
Like I like this is uncharted territory for me. I mean, I know that they've had some atmospheric rivers, but generally speaking, when you see rain like this in California, it's more up north in that Bay Area, you know, San Francisco, up there. I mean, this is not like anything. I mean, this is why people go to Los Angeles, is to avoid rain like this.
And it's even picking up on this next camera here. At first, we were just seeing, you know, the droplets on it kind of being shaky from the wind, but now it appears that it's started to rain again.
This is the downtown skyline camera. You can barely tell, but the skyline is obscured by the visibility.
I would have never guessed that, to be honest with you. So we'll keep on this as we get more information. Luckily, that warning has been canceled, but of course, we are not nearly out of the woods at this point. We'll check back in. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back. Welcome back to Live Impact News. It is 1:45 on your Christmas Eve. I'm Julie Kay. We want to get to a story that we have not touched on yet today out of Chicago. Faith leaders meeting outside of the ICE detention facility to speak on what's been going on in terms of immigration enforcement. I know later today they're actually hosting a faith event outside of the facility, but this is what they had to say in the last couple hours.
Good morning. My name is Father Brendan Curran. I serve at the Resurrection Project. I'm a member of our International Dominican Commission for Justice and Peace. We are different religious leaders. We have come today, as we know on our calendar, is Christmas Eve, a time in our Christian community where we celebrate the birth of the Christ child around the world. We came here to do something that is very basic to societies all over the world, to simply have an opportunity to pray, to sit with, and offer pastoral comfort to people no matter where they are, in times of crisis, in times of war, in jail cells, in prisons, and in detention centers. It is a human right. It is what we do everywhere in the world. It is what we expected to do today here at Broadview Detention Center. To offer prayer, to give comfort, to remind someone who believes in our tradition or whatever tradition or faith they may have, they have a right to access, to express their faith in the spaces where they live, near and far. That's why we came. We came to pray, we came to comfort, and we are reminded we are not just Christians, we're also Muslim leaders, we're also Jewish leaders, we're also a variety of different expressions of faith, no matter what they might be in our world, of its beauty and its diversity. It's about humanitarian respect. Right. It's about dignity. Yeah. This was a simple mission reminding ourselves of dignity. We are people first of human dignity. We came to simply affirm the dignity of staff and detainees on Christmas Eve. What is so radical about that? It is what we do in prisons. It is what we do in jails. It is what we do in our faith communities near and far all over this world, but not at Broadview Detention Center. We were rejected today. Yeah. Authorities refused to allow us. Letters were sent, phone calls were made, but leadership of our government refused to let religious leaders to simply lead prayer and comfort for people in this center, which we believe is an international right. That is why we came today. Brevemente en español. Somos líderes de diferentes tradiciones, de diferentes congregaciones. Venimos en el día en el calendario litúrgico de la iglesia, de las iglesias cristianas, es Nochebuena. Venimos para compartir un conforte pastoral, un momentito de oración propio a la dignidad de cualquier persona, no solamente en Chicago, en el mundo. Es un derecho humano internacional. Venimos de representantes de diversas comunidades de fe para acompañarnos respetando la profesión de los detenidos y los miembros del equipo de los oficiales. Es algo que tenemos en acceso en prisiones, en los cárceles, en las comunidades, en estos tiempos, en todo el país y en el mundo, pero no en Broadview Detention Center. Estuvimos rechazados. Mandamos cartas, llamadas ayer, tuvimos negociaciones y simplemente nos dijeron no tenemos permiso. Nosotros sabemos que tenemos más esperanza que un no. Somos pueblo de fe. We are here and we will hear from different religious leaders today, reminding us of why we took this step to offer comfort, which is a humanitarian right for all. I now invite Sister Jeremy from our coalition to share a few words at this moment.
As a member of the Coalition of Spiritual and Public Leadership, our aim is always to respect the dignity of the individual. And we do believe that we can do that peacefully and nonviolently. We do oppose the unjust capture and treatment of the individuals who are often held here at this facility. We continue to pray for them. We continue to pray for our leadership. We continue to pray for those who are called to care for them in this facility. But it is always about the respect for human dignity. That is the core of everything we believe in as members and followers of Jesus Christ.
I now invite Reverend Abby Holcomb of Union Village church to share a few words as well.
When Mary found out that she was going to give birth to Jesus, she sang the Magnificat, saying that the mighty would be cast down, the proud would be scattered, and the lowly would be uplifted, that the rich would be sent away empty. So we came to Broadview to be with those who are vulnerable and who have been made low. And we were denied again from praying inside the facility. Something that people are able to do in other facilities across the country, but for some reason, faith leaders are not allowed to pray inside. So we've been told they're going to continue to talk to us, to maybe help us get into this facility, or maybe not. Advent is all about a season of waiting, so we know how to be a people of faith who wait. And wait on God to bring liberation to all. We're waiting on DHS to let pastors pray in a facility with people who are detained. And so our Advent prayer will continue to be the same kind of Magnificat that Mary sang all those years ago, that the walls of Broadview would come crumbling down. Amen. That all who are shackled and detained and held captive would be set free. Yes. And that the mighty in this government who detained us would be cast down and scattered, and the lowly would be uplifted. Yes. Yes. Amen. Amen.
Soy el pastor Paco Amador de la Iglesia Nueva Vida en La Villita, representando también Centros Nueva Vida. Estamos y hemos venido aquí al pie de este edificio, el centro de detención de Broadview, que es un edificio simbólico de todo lo que ha estado sucediendo en nuestra comunidad. Nuestra comunidad está orando y luchando específicamente con dos cosas en el corazón. Uno de ellos es que haya un cambio de narrativa totalmente acerca de los inmigrantes en este país. Los inmigrantes no hemos venido a robar, no hemos venido a quitar, no somos criminales. Como inmigrantes simplemente representamos el espíritu de lo que ha hecho esta nación grande. Gente que ha venido para buscar un nuevo futuro, y este siempre ha sido un país de nueva esperanza. Entonces hoy nos hemos reunido y una de las palabras que creo que es importante recordar y saber en estos momentos es que hace más de 2000 años un ángel se le presentó a José y le dijo: este niño representará Emmanuel, Dios está con nosotros. La segunda cosa que deseamos, simplemente la reunificación de las familias que ahora mismo están separadas. Al tomar a un esposo, una esposa y dejar a la familia de inmigrantes que tenían documentos para estar aquí legalmente, en realidad lo que están haciendo es separando. Este país está destinando a familias a vivir en pobreza. Padres que no están con sus hijos, matrimonios que están separados, no por decisión propia, sino por órdenes del gobierno. Entonces, una de las cosas que estamos buscando es la reunificación familiar una vez más en este tiempo de Navidad, que padres e hijos puedan estar unidos una vez más. In English, my name is Paco. I'm Pastor Paco Amador from New Life Community Church in Little Village. I also represent New Life Centers of Chicagoland as one of the members of the board. And we have come to stand right here in this symbolic place. The Broadview Detention Center is a symbolic place for a lot of things that have been happening in our communities. And one of the things that we are praying is for a radical change in the narrative, in the national narrative regarding immigrants. We are not people who have come to take, we are people who have come to give. We stand on the great tradition of this country that represents hope for people throughout the world, and as immigrants we have come desiring for a place of hope, for a place where we can settle our families and start new traditions and new families, new heritage. And so we have come crying out for that. But one more thing, almost 2,000 years ago, an angel came and spoke to a peasant family, to a peasant man. And he told them, do not be afraid to receive this child and the mother. And he said, because this child will be known as Emmanuel, God is with us. And so our word for all immigrants and all those who are suffering right now today is Emmanuel, God is with you. Thank you.
Marshall Hatch, Senior Pastor of the New Mount Pilgrim Missionary Baptist Church on the west side, also a part of the Rainbow Push Coalition. This is my 40th year as a pastor. I have prayed with people who were actually on their way to be executed, with Reverend Jackson in Texas some years ago. I prayed with people in various states of distress, and we've never refused people pastoral care in whatever state of distress that they're in. And so we're here today because we want to make the statement, everybody deserves prayer and pastoral care, especially on Christmas Eve. Amen. And then also, we believe in constitutional government. And so those of us that live in communities like the one that I live in Austin and West Garfield Park, we know that we are only just a smidget away from becoming the targets of these unconstitutional tactics. That's right. Of literally violating people's human and constitutional rights. And so we are delighted to stand with these clergy to say that everybody has a right to the tree of life. Everybody has a right to be treated with dignity, and everybody has a right to share in Christmas joy, in holiday joy. And so we stand with these clergy today, and we pray that our nation will be better than this. Yes. And we declare again that none of us will be safe until all of us are safe and are given the honor of constitutional rights for every human being. God bless you.
Amen. 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 There might be a few comments that some may need or wish to ask of our group, of our delegation this morning.
You were here earlier this week, right? And you and several other Democratic reps were able to go inside. You're back here today. Just talk about how you're feeling today and knowing that, you know, they were trying to go inside and pray for staff and change, but ultimately rejected. Just what's your thoughts?
Well, I think it's outrageous. I'm Congressman Jonathan Jackson, representing Illinois' 1st Congressional District. I stand here with my brothers and sisters in the faith community. As a member of Congress, we've been in a lawsuit for 6 months with the Trump administration. Finally, they were proven to have been breaking the law. We did have a right to do our constitutional job of oversight. I came back out today to be with the faith leaders because this is their right to bring good news to the poor. Yes. On this day of Christmas Eve. There are many people that posture as if they are having Christianity in the administration, and so I wanted to simply join them in fulfilling my obligation to bring good news to those that have been kidnapped, those that are held hostage, those that are being transported. They're disappearing off of our streets. And so if we can't give good news to the poor, then there are people that don't understand our Christian faith. Yeah. And so that's why we're here today, to reaffirm everyone's humanity. In God's eye, there are no aliens on earth. There are no illegal persons on earth. Amen. There are persons that may be strangers or they may be foreigners. So I would also challenge the members of the press to watch that language. We can't dehumanize one another. And so we have been rejected today. I come as a member of Congress to stand with members of the faith community to live out their obligation to bring good news. And they've been rejected from sharing their ministry and their faith with detainees today.
So what happens next? I know you guys said that you were in contact with DHS to see if you could possibly go, I don't know if it's today or today, but what can we expect?
So we were negotiating. First of all, various folks sent letters requesting and honoring that on the sacred days we would gain access to Broadview Detention Center. We were negotiating on the phone with representatives of the government who were working with us on what to do, but in the end did not give approval for our admission into Broadview Detention Center, and we're continuing negotiations next week.
Can you share your name, please?
My name is Father Brendan Curran. I serve at the Resurrection Project, member of the International Dominican Commission for Justice and Peace. Any other questions?
No, we're gonna be at Cook County Jail.
Please.
Yeah, we're gonna be at Cook County Jail on tomorrow. I know that I've gone at least 25 years in a row, and we've been going Rainbow Push probably close to 40 years. And so this is not normal to deny people pastoral care. It's just that simple, especially on Christmas Eve. And again, we've been going to the Cook County Jail. We'll be there tomorrow for Christmas service. Everybody deserves pastoral care. God bless you.
Pray us up, please.
Yeah, let's have prayer. All right. Let's pray. Gracious God, we thank you again for the privilege of being able to gather in your name. We declare that this ground is not just a detention facility, but we declare that it's holy ground, that the earth is yours, the fullness thereof, the world, and all of us that dwell in belong to you. And so we lift up those that are behind these fences, that are behind these gates, kidnapped, captured, snatched off the street, separated from their families in a holy season. We pray that you will touch them and then touch the hearts of those that make these kinds of decisions. Let them put themselves in the place of other people to have empathy and compassion for the poor. And now we remember the incredible testimony that when God enters the world, he enters the world at the bottom of empires. And so we pray, even as 2,000 years ago in Bethlehem, that this becomes Bethlehem 2025. That your presence be in this place. And that, God, none of us will be satisfied until everybody is treated with the human rights deserved as people made in the image of God. No aliens, no illegal people, but all of us made in your image and likeness. And now, God, we will not rest. We will be stirred by your spirit, and we'll continue to challenge this system until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness a mighty stream. Thank you right now that we have not given up our joy, but we still sing joy to the world. Because
all right, you've been listening in to a press conference outside of an ICE facility in Broadview that's right outside Chicago, where faith leaders are saying once again they were not able to go inside the facility. A similar story to what we've heard multiple times from politicians, from local leaders. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back in 2 minutes with some more local news. Welcome back, Julie Kay here. It is 2:07 in the Live Impact studio on your Christmas Eve. We want to get back to some local news, specifically for those of us in Cornelius who use Exit 28, major road project coming in the new year. But the goal is to bring some relief. It's going to take a second to get there, though. Our Walker Lawson joins us live. So, Walker, what can drivers expect?
Yeah, well, so there's already been a project on the opposite side of Cornelius. Currently, it's on US 21 and Holiday Lane where they're installing a couple roundabouts. And that is now going to be the fate on the opposite side of town. So it's going to be at this very busy intersection here, West Catawba Avenue at Liverpool. Also the intersection of Torrance Chapel. There's going to be multiple improvements. I'm going to have to walk over here since we're hearing some louder noises from some vehicles. But this is a very busy intersection here. The project is expected to start in 2026, and it's going to take up to 2 years to complete the project in totality. There's also the other project, as I mentioned, it's going to take another year to finish that one. And there are another 2 projects in the works in the area as well.
Okay, so we got a while to go. We got a ways to go here. What are drivers telling you about their hopes or maybe concerns about the project?
Drivers and town officials that I spoke to kind of all giving the same sentiment. It needs to be done. This is work that has to happen, but it is going to be a pain. This is the major thoroughfare in Cornelius. So having it under construction for 2 years is going to be pretty painful for some drivers out here.
Anything else people need to know from either the project itself or NCDOT?
Yeah, so the project, again, it's going to start off, a timeline is still wishy-washy in a sense. The town's hired, or NCDOT's hired a contractor that can start as early as January. There's been some comments from some people in the area saying it might not be until the spring of 2026 when it starts. So for drivers, just kind of anticipate it starting at some part in the early part of 2026.
You do a lot of these projects, whether it be roads, bridges, apartments, things going up in the area, development in general. When we have a wishy-washy timeline like this, why does this take so long sometimes to figure out when things are going to start?
Yeah, so basically the contractor has pretty much been given a time frame for when they can begin. I guess it would depend on the other work that they have going on in the area. But it's also interesting too with this project because you have so many other projects happening in Cornelius right now that it's interesting that one will be beginning at a time when there's already some other work happening. But that's where the chips fell for when they were hired to do these projects.
Makes sense. That's our Walker Lawson live reporting for us in Cornelius. We'll see him later on in our shows later today. Walker, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, back to the big story of the day. Santa. He is flying above. Where is he right now? Jeb's got it pulled up for us.
He's in Ukraine.
Oh, Santa is on his way to Kyiv right now. He was just in Turkey. Busy guy. We're approaching the 3 billion mark.
I think one of the things that have been most impressive about his journey this year really is just his ability to get to so many interesting places. I mean, it's been a good little geography lesson for those of us watching. I mean, this is really, really impressive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can just see just how fast. I love watching up in the top right corner.
Yeah.
How many presents. As I said, approaching the 3 billion mark now.
That's amazing.
Busy guy.
He's been to a lot of places. And Julie, has he been to any places that you've been to in your life yet?
Not yet.
Yeah, so he hasn't been. All right.
Oh, family is going to Japan this year.
Okay,
though.
he was at Japan earlier.
He was. He went to Tokyo, Kyoto. He went to Okinawa. I clearly I'm very into this. I've been watching Santa all day long. I love geography, so I was just very into it. But interesting to see how he bounces around, obviously, because of the time zones. Like big countries like China or Russia, like you're going to have to come back because it's not all night at the same time.
Right.
So he went from like Japan to South Korea to Australia, and then I think back up. So, yeah, what a busy man. Busy man.
It's very impressive.
Yeah.
It's very impressive.
Wearing that big coat in some of these warmer temperatures. I mean, it's summer in Australia right now.
Yeah. I wonder if he sheds layers. I mean, if he comes to Charlotte, we heard Chris talking about it. It's going to be warm here. So I wonder if he's got like a Santa tank top, a Santa coat. Like that's what I would do. I mean, if you're already carrying billions of presents, I don't necessarily think that a change of clothes
It's out of the
through.
question.
Like I feel with the pressure, like I'd be sweating through my coat, regardless of.
Oh, yeah.
Frankly, the temperatures that I'm dealing with.
I like the idea of a Santa tank top.
Yeah, I feel like if he's gonna be going down under.
Boo. Boo.
That's what I've been wearing. But anyways,
Well,
that's
reindeer can't change though. I mean, that's a thick coat.
we all saw the. I just watched the Rudolph movie again. Really sad story for the first half.
I know.
But I feel like they could weather all different kinds of temperatures. Like they seemed like a resilient beast.
Yeah, I guess that the Santa magic is that he can deliver 3 billion presents in 5 hours that he's been in the sky. Like probably some sort of air control situation is not out of the question.
Yeah, Rudolph is just like in front of him. He's like pushing a giant fan.
Yeah.
Like in front of him. That'd be interesting. He'd have a lot of responsibilities.
A lot of questions still remain, but that is the magic of the holidays, I suppose. He's now headed for Moscow, Russia. We're going to let him get back to business. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Live Impact News, 2:15 here on your Christmas Eve. Going to get another check of your toasty holiday forecast.
Well, good Wednesday afternoon to you. I'm WCNC meteorologist Majestic Storm, and Merry Christmas Eve to you. Boy, are we getting spoiled with the forecast today. We'll have plenty of sunshine, and on top of that, temperatures are going to be warm. I'm talking about record warmth, not just today, but getting really close to it tomorrow as well. Most of us have a few clouds out there here and there, but as we head later on into the afternoon, gradually clearing skies is what you should anticipate. Hopefully you and your family have at least some plans to get outside and enjoy the nice conditions. We're talking about record highs today for our Christmas Eve. For Christmas Day, still plenty of sunshine, near record high temperatures. And then by Friday, cloudy and much cooler, so enjoy the warmth while we have it. Yesterday was gorgeous, wasn't it? We had a whole lot of sunshine, temperatures nearly 70 degrees. But then today, can you believe it's Christmas Eve? 75 degrees, sunny skies. I mean, let's just take advantage of this warm up. It is going to feel really nice. Now, if you're in the mountains, of course, it's going to be a bit cooler, but still not bad. Upper 50s, low 60s, a little breezy today. You'll notice those winds, especially early in the afternoon. 61 degrees, though, for your high out there in Boone. Once we head throughout the foothills, 74 for Morganton, plenty of sunshine there, 72 for Lenore. And then once we bring it back around Charlotte, 75 degrees. I mean, if you have a motorcycle, if you have a convertible, you might as well take yourself on a nice Christmas Eve cruise. A nice day to get those kiddos outside as well. 75 degrees there in Shelby, 75 in Rock Hill, and 76 in Lancaster. Believe it or not, but we're forecasting warmer temperatures for Christmas Day than what we saw on Labor Day. And of course, Santa Claus is coming to town tonight. Temperatures not even getting that cool overnight with a low of only 52 degrees. So waking up on our Christmas morning, temperatures will look like this. Upper 40s, low 50s. I mean, very, very mild as those kiddos are waking up, maybe opening up some Christmas presents. Now, we do have a small chance of a couple of random stray showers. I mean, not going to be much at all. But then as we head towards mid-morning, early afternoon, notice those temperatures warm up and we will have plenty of sunshine. Again, waking up Thursday, I mean, this is 2 o'clock in the morning. Most of us will be asleep. A few sprinkles and cloudy conditions. That'll continue until about 5 o'clock in the morning. And then back behind it, nice gradual clearing skies. That southwesterly wind really pumping in that warm air for us. And that's going to make for a beautiful Christmas Day tomorrow. 75 degrees in Charlotte and really surrounding areas. Highs for Christmas Day tomorrow in the mountains. Low 60 degrees for Jefferson. So again, tomorrow we are going to likely break some records. I mean, the warmest Christmas that we've ever had, 77 degrees back in 1955, and we're forecasting 75. I mean, we're getting very close to that. In our average, we should only be at 53. Now, we will have a couple of back-to-back days of warm temperatures, 75 degrees, sunny skies for your Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. A small drop in temperatures on Friday, but then on Saturday, we're going to see those temperatures increase again. Notice those overnight lows also just about where our average high should be, but next week we'll start to feel that chill in the air. Not a whole lot of rain coming our way. Remember, tomorrow morning we could see a little bit, but honestly, it's not going to be a whole lot. Here's at Jerry Hunt Super Center 7-day forecast. I'm wishing you all a very Merry Christmas. Enjoy the nice, very comfortable temperatures, and join us tomorrow on WCNC.
All right, we'll be right back. We'll be back in 2 minutes. All right, well, welcome back to Live Impact News. Merry Christmas Eve. It is 2:22. We want to get to a really interesting story out of Georgia. DeKalb County, multiple inmates have escaped, one being a convicted killer. We got an update from officials earlier on the latest on that investigation.
you for being here. I am DeKalb County Sheriff Melody Maddox, and I want to report this morning that the streets of DeKalb County are once again safe. They're safe for our communities, and we want to say that is because of the swift action of the law enforcement that you see standing here and others. I especially have to give a thank you to our fugitive and field operations unit. We also have standing here the United States Marshal Service, Marshal Thomas Brown of the Northern District of Georgia. His team include Eric Hines, Acting Chief for the Southeast Regional Task Force and the South Florida Caribbean Regional Task Force. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of our DeKalb County Police Department Chief of Police, Chief Padrick, our community partners who reached out during this time, Clayton County Sheriff Levon Allen and Fulton County Sheriff Labatt, who reached out to assist, to ask what was needed. They asked because their concern was for their community as well, because what happens in one community can surely happen in another. And one of the things that I made sure that on December the 1st of 2019, I made a vow. I made a vow to protect the citizens of DeKalb County. I made a vow and I stuck to it. I'm going to continue to stick to it. This will not be tolerated. We're going to continue to fight and make sure that our family, friends, and loved ones are safe, and that people know that they can come into DeKalb County and enjoy, live, work, and play. As I announced when we began the process of trying to recapture these 3 inmates who escaped from this jail on Sunday night, my primary focus is to make sure that you all know that DeKalb County Jail is secure. This was a breach. We're not going to sit here and go back and forth and point blame. We're going to focus on what can we do to stop it from happening in the future. We're going to be asking for things to assist us with this aging facility that's deteriorating right before our eyes. We're going to look at improvements that are needed here. We know that it's going to cost money. We know what it costs. But we either pay now or it's going to be a payment later. So I want to thank all of you all for coming out. To the media, I say thank you because you all did put it out there. Oftentimes we don't want to say thank you to the media, but I will say thank you because you all put it out there and you let them know that we are looking and we're not going to stop. My team and I have not slept. We've rested, but we have not slept. And we don't sleep when things of this nature happen. These are one of many incidents probably has taken place throughout the world of escapes from jails and prisons. But here at the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office, we jumped into action immediately, and we didn't stop until these individuals were brought back to custody and that our streets are safe so that our children can go out and enjoy the holidays, enjoy their gifts, so our family members can enjoy other family members. So I want to turn this over to my chief, Chief Atkins, who will be able to give more information as it entails in regards to what took place on Sunday night.
Good morning. The reason we're here today is due to the escape from the DeKalb County Jail. In talking about that escape, what I'll start with is the individuals that left our facility. Stevenson Charles, age 24, charged with murder and armed robbery in DeKalb County. He was here in our facility under a felony life sentence for murder through the federal system. Yusuf Minor, age 31, charged with 2 counts of armed robbery and 2 counts of possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony in DeKalb County, also here under sentence from the state system. Noad Johannes, age 25, charged with simple assault, arson, and unlawful acts of violence in a penal institution. Those are the reasons that we're here today, because these gentlemen chose to try to escape or effected an escape from our facility. I'm going to turn it over to Marshal Brown, who will tell you about the ongoing investigation and the tracking down of these individuals. Marshal Brown.
Thank you. See if I can get my paperwork here in some kind of order. The United States Marshal Service immediately came to the assistance of the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office, who is one of our strongest partners, when we were contacted to help them locate this individual. Because there is a member of the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office, Deputy Sheriff Williams, on that task force, it was very easy for him to put the file together and present it to Chief, I'm sorry, I just drew a senior moment, Chief Hines, that's to approve those folders and start this in action. Now, this was 2 separate federal task forces that we had operating. Because Stephen's son was a federal inmate that had escaped, then the the U.S. Marshal Service took the lead on finding and apprehending him. That particular task laid at the hands of Chief John Stevens, who works in the district office, and the group of task force members that are located in my office. The other 2 individuals, who are state actors, became the charge of the Southeast Regional Task Force under the command of Regional Chief Hines, and so we work parallel together. As long as the 3 inmates remain together, and we had information to suggest that they were, and I will talk about that later, then those 2 task forces will continue to work together for that one effort. But at any time, if Stevenson had broke away from that group, then it would have become on Chief Stevens, who would be the incident commander on tracking Stevenson down. He was our main target. That's who we was focused on. And Chief Hines, working with the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office task force, would concentrate on the other 2. At around 11 p.m., information from the DeKalb County recorded inmate lines, when they determined that these individuals was gone, led them to an individual who had made contact or was contacted by Stevenson to meet them outside the jail at a location when they facilitated this escape. That was done, and yes, that was done successfully, and they were picked up by a gentleman, you'll find that in the report later. This thing gets very voluminous. So they were picked up and they was taken to the girlfriend's house of inmate Minor. Inmate Minor's girlfriend then contacted a Lyft to pick up the 3 inmates and transport them to an address in Florida. That took place. We were able to, using the intelligence of the Marshal Service, track that movement. No need to talk about how and what we use, just we're the U.S. Marshals and we have ways to track. And so we tracked them all the way to Florida and made the arrests in the metropolitan Miami area. Those individuals were picked up there without incident. As you can imagine, the Lyft driver is very traumatized by this. She's being interviewed by the FBI for additional kidnap charges, as well as other things of that nature. So the system worked the way it's supposed to work. It would not work this well had it not been for the great relationship and partnership that we have with local law enforcement partners, state law enforcement partners, as well as our federal partners as well. So that's it in a nutshell. And as we take questions, at least from my end, please understand this investigation is ongoing. We want to make sure that the U.S. Attorney, as it relates to Stevenson, has an airtight case. And so you're going to get a lot of, I can't answer that question for you as we go through this motion. So with that, I turn it back over to Chief of the DeKalb County Jail.
Thank you, sir. We will entertain questions at this time.
Can you tell us exactly how these inmates are able to get outside of the jail building itself?
Okay. First, let's start by saying that we operate a 30-plus-year-old facility. And as with the building of such, some of the infrastructure can be compromised with effort by the inmates. That being the case in this instance, we would not like to be more specific as not to give out the person's ideas of how to further compromise this building. But we're making some adjustments, being assisted by the county to shore up the infrastructure and to make adjustment with our policies regarding to this incident.
Chief Maddox mentioned some changes.
That's Sheriff Maddox.
Yes, excuse me, Sheriff Maddox mentioned some changes that you'd like to make, by the way. Could you tell us exactly like what you're looking to change about the infrastructure of the jail without giving away how these inmates are able to get out?
To be honest, at this time, we're not discussing those things because we're ongoing, doing those evaluations and making sure that we're doing a comprehensive job in regards to that.
Can you clarify, Marshall did talk about that there's a phone call. So are we saying that if one of the inmates called someone to pick them up and coordinate with a girlfriend of one of the other suspects? Can you explain that, again, how that worked and how you were able to, I guess, monitor the phone call, and that's how you knew this was going on?
Okay, if you're familiar with the jail environment, all of our phone calls between inmates and citizens is recorded. So we utilized our internal intelligence unit to start to review calls that would have been made by those particular inmates or just calls that were made out of that particular pod, which is a normal standard operating procedure.
The County just opened up the new real-time crime center. Did that play a role in this search? And if it did, was it an effective role?
In this particular instance, the components of having the U.S. Marshals involved, it didn't, necessitate us using the real-time communication center. So we didn't utilize it this time, but we expect in the near future, in any incident that we have, we'll be using it. But the fact that our federal partners needed to be brought into this, it was more along the operation of the federal partners and us.
What was the clue that the infrastructure was compromised? Was this based on when you're looking to see how they got out, or was it based on, say, listening to the phone calls? Was this something that you were somewhat aware of and someone picked at it and was able to get out? I mean, what are we talking? When were you aware that this particular piece of infrastructure was compromised?
It was discovered when our officer was doing his feeding times. So once he entered the cell and did his preliminary check, he was able to discover that a portion of the cell had been compromised. We subsequently started to do our investigation at that time.
Chief, can you explain the timeline for us? So you guys figured out that these 3 men were missing sometime overnight, but when did you actually notify the public? Because, I know different news outlets were calling to say, hey, can you confirm this? And do you believe the fact that the public was not made aware earlier that it could have put people in danger?
It's our assertion that the public was made aware as soon as we were made aware. Now we had to, probably a small amount of time where we had to assess what we actually had. You just can't go out there and start to sound the alarm without figuring out what you have. The difference between the time that they exited the facility and the time that we got onto it, there was some distance in between there because of the activities that were going on. If you know about a jail, we executed one activity, then we come back several hours later or, and do our next round. So that's the distance that people may think that we didn't notify anybody, but you have to understand that there's not an omnipresence in that cell, so that's the gap there. Then once we realized in that amount of time that they were out or that they subsequently were missing, then we had to figure out if they were still in the building somewhere, and then figure out, once we figured out they had exited the building, then that's when we went forward with alerting the public.
How long was that gap though?
I think it probably was about 4 hours, but like I said, there was a lot going on in between that.
Chief, do you have a general statement about safety? I understand that the sheriff did say that the jail is now secure and you are going to be implementing some things to make sure that this doesn't happen again. But since the jail is now being secure, has anything been implemented already?
Okay, we repaired the area that was compromised, And we're looking at other areas that are similar to that to fortify them to make sure that they're not compromised in the same manner. That's the thing I can tell you right now. We've elevated our round pattern just for a sake, so we're just doing more rounds right now till we get those other things fortified.
My last question is just speaking to community and safety, because we're seeing a lot of these escapes going on in the metro area. Are you guys partnering with other police agencies so that you guys can kind of do something to kind of bring this number down with escape fees happening?
Okay, unfortunately, our main focus is the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office. And as the sheriff spoke to briefly, we're always in the business of partnering with our local agencies, the DeKalb County PD, and all of the municipalities. Anytime there's an instance like this, we lean on those individuals to try to assist us. We think we do a fairly good job on a day-to-day basis, making sure that our facility is safe, and we'll continue to do that.
Chief, not to belabor the point, but we knew about this escape for about 6 hours before it was actually confirmed. Can you explain why that happened?
As I said before, we gave out the information as soon as we understood exactly what we had. We will never give out information prematurely because that only causes chaos. So some of your time frames may not align with the time frame that we have in order to give the public the best information and to be able to execute a plan. So those are the differences. But what we will stand on is the fact that we always have the DeKalb County citizens, the citizens of the metro Atlanta area, and the citizens of Georgia at our forefront of our thought process. And we're going to always get the information out at the best time that we can do so. Sometimes that won't align with what the public wants. Sometimes that won't align with what the media wants. But I guarantee you it aligns what the situation dictates.
Was anyone hurt while these guys were out?
Not in our, to our knowledge.
Can you clarify, Stevenson Charles, I know there were 2 people that were state inmates and others were federal inmates. Can you clarify that? Because Stevenson Charles pled guilty in Gwinnett County. Can you explain why he was in a jail, which is generally for people who are awaiting trial? Can you explain that?
Okay, as most people know, individuals just don't perpetrate crimes in one area. So he had been held accountable for his crimes in Gwinnett and his federal crimes, but that doesn't mean he was going to dodge the crimes in DeKalb County. So he was extradited back to our facility to be held accountable for those charges or those crimes that he perpetuated in our area.
Even with a life sentence?
That occurs.
Will these inmates be extradited back to the state of Georgia to stand trial? Are all 3 of them in Broward County right now?
You want to speak to that, Marshall?
They will eventually come back to Georgia to face the state charges here in Georgia. Go to your point, sir. Stevenson was in this facility on a production order to appear in the DeKalb County Superior Court for a pending trial scheduled for January 6th. That's why he was here.
So there was no, and this maybe you may not have any idea, but there were no negotiations for that case, because if someone, put it this way, and if you're in a state facility, we tend to think of state facilities as being safer than a county jail. Obviously the sheriff has talked about need for improvements here, and I imagine going to the county commission and asking for more, but that was a risk. If you're in a situation where you are sentenced to life in prison to continue to go forward with a state case, are we aware of any efforts to make sure that case was pled out or whatever, so we wouldn't be in a situation where someone was here for, pled guilty to I guess it was like I forget what the charge was, but basically kidnapping.
That will be a question directed to the district attorney of that county. They will be the one to bring those charges forward.
I have a question for the sheriff. A lot of people were on edge for a very long time.
Sure.
There were some people who were frankly right across the street from the jail that I talked to about this. They didn't even know that 3 men had escaped the jail. Moving forward, what do you plan to do to make sure the citizens of DeKalb County are safe and that something like this does not happen again?
Moving forward, I'm going to continue to do what I've been doing, making sure they're safe. They're safe now. That's why these individuals are in the custody. And when you talk about what we're going to put in place, we already have things in place. Let me just say this, and I want to say this really quick. Some people lead by, authority and power. I lead by faith and prayer. I pray this agency up. I pray for my citizens. So when you talk about making sure that they are safe, that's why we have these partners right here. That's why we do assessments on this facility to make sure that this building is safe and that this does not happen. And as Chief said, we're not going to put any information out there unless it's valid and it has been verified to make sure that the citizens of DeKalb County are getting the valid information that they're supposed to have. So that's the way it works with us, and we're going to continue to do it. We've done a great job, and I'm going to say this and leave this and end this questions right here. They're asking me to make bricks out of straws. And we're doing the best we can with what we have. And I think we've done an outstanding job, and nobody's going to take away the fact of what DeKalb County Sheriff Office has been doing and will continue to do for the citizens of DeKalb County. Not just the citizens of DeKalb County, but for the state of Georgia. And I will always remain convinced to the citizens that I will do everything in my power to make sure that these inmates are treated with dignity and respect. For those that commit crimes are held accountable. But not only that, to make sure that my employees are taken care of. Because my employees are the ones that have to sit here and have to work in this facility. These are the ones, you have our field division that have to go out to the fields and make sure that we keep those streets safe. Yes, DeKalb County PD answers the 911 calls. I worked for 11 years as a DeKalb County police officer. Chief Patrick and I worked side by side. The answering of the calls is only one solution to the problem. The conditions and where these individuals reside is another, and where we work. And this is what we have to deal with. And I want those citizens to know that I remain committed and dedicated to the word that I gave when I gave that oath on December 1st of 2019. And I stand here and I say that with conviction and passion, and I will continue to fight for DeKalb County Sheriff Office and all the citizens that I love. I'm from here, I work here, I live here, and I play here. And I don't walk in fear. I don't fear anybody. I only fear one person, and that's God. And I'm going to continue to do what God has ordered me to do, and that's to walk in the path to keep my community safe. Thank you, and you all have a good day.
Will any of the officers inside the jail be held accountable?
All right, that was the latest update from DeKalb County as they are searching for those 3 escaped inmates out of Georgia. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back to Live Impact News, just past 2:45 here in the Live Impact studio. Merry Christmas Eve. We want to get to some of our local interviews that we've gotten to do over the past couple of days. Just yesterday, our Nick Sturdivant spoke with Mecklenburg County Sheriff Gary McFadden. Obviously, McFadden has a lot going on with his upcoming re-election campaign, with the new year priorities in terms of safety in the county, as well as Border Patrol potentially coming back, something he mentioned when he was here even earlier last week. So we're going to get to that interview. This is the latest from Sheriff McFadden.
Don't panic if you haven't gotten your Christmas gifts yet. If some of your stuff has not gotten there yet, you still got a little bit of time.
You should definitely be panicking. It's the 23rd. You have 2 days. All your stuff should be here by now.
I'm trying to get people to calm down because not all of my stuff has come. So
that's a you problem, sir. You should have planned. You had all year to think about this.
Oh man, my family still loves me. Yeah. So okay, 2 days before Christmas, a lot to get to. One of the things we want to get to this morning, Sheriff Gary McFadden. He is here live, virtually. Sheriff McFadden, thank you. I guess I got to start with this. I started with Christmas gifts. Did you get everything yet, Sheriff McFadden?
I'm hoping I do. I'm looking for some ostrich cowboy boots. That's what I'm looking for.
Ostrich cowboy. Where do you get those?
Yeah, it's Tracovas. If anybody wants to go on South Boulevard and buy me a pair, I will gladly accept them. That would probably be my fourth pair, but I need some ostrich.
Okay.
Ostrich.
All right, we're making note. We're going to do some Googles. We'll hook you up.
Please do.
Last time you were here, and it's made headlines since you left, you talked about the likely return of Border Patrol. And that has spawned off, again, headlines. Some people are concerned. A lot of people have questions. I'm sure you have questions as well about that return. What can you tell us? What are you hearing from community members, and do you have any updates?
Well, community members are very upset. They are still reeling from the last time that they were here. And we have no more answers from Border Patrol than we had last time. So what we're asking for is communication, collaboration, and cooperation. I'm going to always say those three things. But if you follow this as closely as I have been following it for the last 7 years, DHS always have an operation during the month of January. And we don't know why, but most of the time, most of the sheriffs nationally will be in Washington, D.C. for their annual conventions. So when we are away from our cities and counties, this is when Border Patrol, DHS actually has a campaign or initiative in our cities. So this is why I expected it. They have just landed in Chicago a couple of days ago, so this could be a round-robin effect.
I do want to ask about crime. We talked to Charlotte City Council member Dante Anderson. She's on a committee. There's been a conversation here in Charlotte. There are people that are concerned, and there have been conservatives, Republicans that have come out and spoken out about policies. Charlotte not doing enough when it comes to crime. From your vantage point, and also we have, I do want to point out, we have another homicide this morning in Charlotte. From your vantage point, how do you perceive what's happening in not only Charlotte and Mecklenburg County when it comes to crime?
Well, we are a growing city, and when you grow as fast as we grow, you're going to have a uptick in crime. I can tell you law enforcement is concerned about crime. We are concerned. CMPD concerned. All the townships are concerned about crime. But we don't see it as some people make it to be. Yes, there is homicide. Yes, there is crime. But what you have to also understand is we are changing our neighborhoods. People are moving in different neighborhoods that are now experiencing the same crime that some of our neighbors have experienced all along. If you think about Bitterville, historically, Bitterville has been an African-American neighborhood, a black neighborhood around Johnson C. Smith, where I went and loved my institution. But when I was at school there, the neighborhood was 99% African-American. That neighborhood has now changed, and so now these residents are experiencing things things that they were not accustomed to by moving in these neighborhoods, which are the same neighborhoods that had these already problems. And so, yes, we're going to have crime. It's always going to be crime. It's always going to be a topic. But now it is affecting people who are moving into these neighborhoods that are not accustomed to these crimes, and surely they are blowing the whistle.
What do you do? What does 2026 look like? Is that top priority on your agenda?
It is top priority, but what the community always like to understand, it also takes them. It also takes them to work with law enforcement, not just coming to an annual meeting or Q&A where the officer standing in front of, homeowner association and get this barrage with questions, why? We need to come together to work together for you to be our eyes and ears and let's effectively combat crime. Law enforcement cannot do it alone. And we're going to continue to say that because we do need the help. Most of the time things go unreported because they don't want to get involved, or I don't want to snitch, or I don't want anybody to come at me if I say anything. Well, if you still allow that, the crime will go up in your neighborhood.
And CMPD also is in on that, reducing crime, working with Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office. Can you talk about the working relationship? CMPD, obviously, new police chief, Estella Patterson. What is that working relationship with CMPD, and what is your relationship with Chief Patterson?
Well, my relationship with CMPD, if you don't know it, that's where I birthed my law enforcement career. Since I became sheriff, we have had a great relationship. Chief Jennings left the business, as we say, in great standing. We had multiple phone calls, worked together tremendously well. We were partners in homicide together many years ago, so we had that great relationship. I'm going to try to make sure I say this correct. Chief Patterson, because I may call her by her first name, because we have a great relationship also. Before she went to Raleigh and she worked with CMPD, great relationship. When she went to Raleigh, we still kept in touch. Innovative. We talked about things she's done in Raleigh. And here's what I can tell you. Her very first day on the job, she called me, not to say, hey, Sheriff, how you doing, anything. She gave me a challenge with her that we did an initiative together without me even knowing it. She said, I need your people to help me with this crime downtown in Center City. And we worked together from day one. Her first day on the job, we welcome her back, and I actually said, welcome home. And so our relationship is going to be tremendous. It's going to be great. This is where she began her law enforcement career. She's going to do an outstanding job. But we have to understand, again, when you are the first African-American female, the first female chief, it comes with challenges because the community placed expectations on us without even telling us what those expectations are. And most people say, well, you should know. Well, we don't know. Have that conversation, give us time, work together. But our relationship with CMPD was just a hand toss away. Jennings gave it to her, she gave it to me, and we're going to work tremendously together again.
Before I let you go, Chief, I do want to ask, speaking, we talked about holidays as we were getting into this interview. There are a lot of people that are going to be traveling. There are a lot of people that are either going to be at home for the holidays, going to have a lot of folks over. What should folks, or even shopping, going out and about throughout the area? So many ways people celebrate the holidays, bring in the holidays. What should people keep in mind?
Be mindful. Check your surroundings. Make sure. Now, I know this sounds crazy. If you have weapons in your home, make sure that they are secured inside your home. Be careful of what you are drinking or intaking. That means, alcohol consumption. Be careful about driving while impaired. But most of all, just be safe around your home, around where you shop. We're going to be walking out of the store with packages and put them in the car and leave the car. And just be mindful of that. Be mindful of when you're reaching in the car and who's standing behind you. And just don't be in the middle of your trunk looking for something and not aware around you. And be careful who's in your home. Those are the things that we can ask you to do, but you have to just be mindful of your surroundings. Be careful of what you say. You know, be careful of how you purchase things, pulling out your wallet, showing your money, and just be careful. And so we want you to have a safe and happy holiday, but make sure that you understand your surroundings. And criminals look for these times to take advantage of you.
Well, Sheriff, I hope you have a safe and a happy holidays as well. And you said ostrich cowboy
Ostrich.
boots. Okay.
Ostrich cowboy boots. We can go with caiman, lizard, anything exotic. You know, we'll take them. Cowboy boots.
I got it noted. Sheriff, thank you for your time. Have happy holidays and have a safe holidays.
Thank you so much.
All right, that was Nick Sturman's wide-ranging interview with Sheriff Gary McFadden from yesterday morning, where he discussed all sorts of things, talking crime in Mecklenburg County, but also the potential for Border Patrol to return. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Live Impact News. It is 3 o'clock on the dot here on your Christmas Eve. I'm Julie Kay, here with Jeb Goldman and with Santa, obviously. Here he is again, last seen in Bethlehem. Wow, very timely.
Yeah, he's getting to Cairo, Egypt now.
Yeah, busy guy. If you haven't had a chance to look at this NORAD Santa tracker on your own, it is a good time. You get to learn some about geography. They'll put up little points and information about the places that he visits. You get to move it around, see where he's been. So it's a really good time. Rudolph, though, of course, leading the pack, going real fast. We've now passed 3.1 billion presents. Obviously, he started off in Asia, then some Oceania, now the Middle East, because that is night over there. We're still waiting for him to head to ours. So.
Yeah, so I'll give you guys some fun fact about Cairo, Egypt. It'll be in 2 seconds.
Oh, thank God.
It actually is home of the longest river in the world.
The Nile. Okay,
yep.
Jeb, that's not a fun fact.
Okay,
that's a general.
It's believed to be known as the genesis of mankind. There's a long description as to what that means. I'm not going to get there. It's the second most populous agglomeration in Africa.
What?
Again, not totally. These fun facts on this website are awful. It does have the only remaining ancient wonder of the world.
The pyramids.
Yes. Yes, and the Sphinx. So that's pretty interesting. I wonder if our good friend Santa is going to be stopping by, taking some pictures. The only remaining ancient wonder of the world.
I didn't even know that. Now that you mentioned that, is a fun fact.
It is kind of fun. I have heard rumors, though, that they are going to add an 8th wonder.
Oh, God.
It is the maze that is the Midtown Trader Joe's parking
Stop
lot.
it. Boo.
Unlike anything else on the planet.
Jeb takes a week off, comes back with all these jokes just locked and loaded.
We're ready to go, team. Merry Christmas, Happy Christmas Eve to those celebrating.
You know, I gotta be honest though, the Wonder of the World one, that is a way better fun fact than the existence of the Nile. They should start with that as number one.
That was number one.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like that's like one thing I feel like everyone. All right. You know what? I didn't look him up. I'm not going to be a hater. I know our news director's listening to this is about to come back here. So on that note, we're going to go to some news while Santa heads to Luxor, Egypt. This is our Brad Panovich. Of course, he has his Weather Impact show here at 6:30. This is what he said last night.
Hey, welcome in everybody. Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich here on WCNC Plus with your live weather impact. Tonight's a big night. The full topic of tonight's show is going to be our winter forecast. You know, I've been doing this for 21 years now. It started off as just kind of fun. Really they didn't even let me do this on TV back in the day. It was like a thing I did for fun because I love snow, I love skiing, I love the winter forecast. And so it's been something I've had a little passion for the last 2 decades plus. And so tonight we're going to do something a little different. We're going to reveal it on streaming only, so to make it kind of interesting. So here's a look at my winter weather impact. We're going to focus just on the forecast here in the first 8 minutes or so, but then Tim's going to join me. He's talking about the winter forecast for the Greensboro area, by the way. We're going to compare notes and talk about it, so if you have questions, shoot them to us, 704-329-3600. Anything I say or anything I don't say, I'd love to hear from you because I think that would be really cool to talk about what you guys think about this forecast as we get into it. So first things first, let's talk a little bit about when our average snow falls across our area. So in the Charlotte area, we broke this down by month just to give you a kind of perspective on when the snow falls. So you can see very little November, though we're going to talk about that little bit we got last Monday. December, not a lot. The 2 months we get the most snow, January, February, and that's going to be key to my forecast as well. But really February, and this says something because remember February only has 28 days and then 29 days during leap year. So it has the least amount of days of any of the winter or cool season months, but it has produced the biggest percentage of snow. So if you want to see snow in the Charlotte area, it's really February, and I'll be honest with you, that first week of March. Statistically, the snowiest single calendar day in Charlotte, that meaning the most snow that has fallen on a single calendar day over our entire history, is actually March 2nd. There's been so many big storms in that last week of February into early March. A lot of that has to do with the pattern that we have in the southeast. It's when the cold air is still lingering, but we start to get that active storm track. So that's the time of year we typically see snow. But I will mention November because last week we had our first trace of snow, but on average, our first measurable snow in the Charlotte area, on average, it can happen earlier, we can get it in December, is January 9th. So if it doesn't snow at all in December, don't think we're never going to see snow because that's not normally when we see it. It is January. So the mean date, if you will, where we get measurable snow is usually right around January 9th. So we got to talk about this upcoming season. What is going to happen with El Nino, La Nina? We call that ENSO for short. It's the combination of either one. El Nino Southern Oscillation is what that ENSO stands for. Last year, we had a pretty strong El Nino. This year, the forecast and where we currently are is in a weak La Nina. So that's the basis of our forecast this year, looking at what happens during a weak La Nina. You may ask, Brad, what does happen when we have a La Nina pattern during the winter? Well, cooler than average water over the equatorial Pacific does produce warmer than normal conditions across the southeast and drier. But notice where that jet stream is. This is key. The jet stream is typically here across the Ohio Valley. We tend to be on the warm side, but because that active jet stream is so close to us, we can occasionally get a storm to sneak down here. So you should never write off a La Nina winter, especially a weak La Nina winter. Now, when we're talking about snowfall averages in these different regimes, in the Charlotte area, our all-time average, which goes back 147 years if we count this year now, is 5.4. But the last 30 years, the 30-year average has dropped to 3.5. And in the last 10 years, that average is even more meager at 2 inches. So if you think it hasn't snowed a lot lately, you would be correct. Remember, we had our first 2 snowless years in a row before last year. We finally saw, I think it was 1.2 inches. Now, in El Nino years, 5.6 is the average. In La Nina years, though, 4.1. And what is La Nada? That's the neutral phase. Actually, what's interesting is our weather in the winter, when we have a weak El Nino or a weak La Nina or even a neutral kind of in the middle, that tends to be our best snow years. It's not when we have really strong El Ninos or La Ninas. It's really when we're more in the middle of those two. And so when we look at some of the other things that I look at from a checklist standpoint, where are we with that ENSO? Well, right now with the weak La Nina, that usually means warm and dry. Above average snowfall in Siberia this year, there was slightly above. We looked at that in October. That usually means cold and dry. Arctic sea ice, unfortunately, still near record lows. That typically means warm and dry. And because of climate change and warm sea surface temperatures over most of the equatorial areas of the Atlantic, the Gulf, and the East Coast, that tends to be warm and dry. So typically a lot of the checklist like indicators would mean warm and dry. So overall, I would think warm and dry, but most people just care about the snow. Snowfall over La Ninas recently, obviously 22, 23, we had 0, but look at 21, 22, 4.3, and I want you to focus on 2010, 11. That was a very decent La Nina year. We had cold and snowy weather. That was one of the coldest winters I remember here in Charlotte, and that's always a wild card. So not all La Ninas are created the same. Remember our forecasting rules. Where do we look? I put the little check there because 3 to 5 days out is when you start to see the actual snow chances. So just remember that when we start getting into some of these forecasts. So let's get to the forecast. Cut to the chase, Brad, right? What am I forecasting temperature-wise? I think we will be above average, but not by a lot. I think it'll be just slightly above, so not a blowtorch. Certainly no big blowtorch this year. I think we'll actually see temperatures maybe close to average or a little bit above, maybe a half a degree to a degree, so not crazy. Rainfall-wise, this includes all precipitation, not just snow. It's going to be dry. I think the drought's going to continue. I just don't see a very wet pattern developing this winter. But what about snow? We can still have a dry winter and have snow. Remember, snow is 90% air, so you don't need a ton of moisture. You just have to have moisture and cold air time up. So snowfall, I actually think most of the Western Carolinas could be slightly above, and then many areas of the Piedmont near average. So I do think we're going to get snow this year. And as I do every year, I started doing this a couple years ago. Let's look at the bold forecast. I like to forecast some ranges for some of the major cities across our area. Boone, Hickory, Charlotte. Boone's average snowfall is 25.6. I'm going to go 28 to 35. Hickory's average snowfall is 6.9 inches. I'm going to go 6 to 8 this year. And for Charlotte, our average snowfall is 3.5 inches, as I mentioned, over the 30-year average. I'm going to go slightly above, but if we get near average, I wouldn't be shocked. I'm going to go 3 to 6 inches, which would be the most snow we have seen in quite a while. Because I think this pattern is actually going to be pretty topsy-turvy, I think the chance of timing out 1 to 3 winter storms at some point late in the season, and I'm particularly talking January, February, is more than likely. So I do think we're going to see snow this year, but it will be mild. Coming up, Tim Buckley and I are going to kind of compare notes and talk about the winter forecast. Send your questions in, though.
All right, we're going to take another quick break, but stick with us. More coming up after this. Welcome back. We want to get to some of the biggest news of today, which is a new press conference we got out of Pennsylvania, Bucks County, where that nursing home exploded yesterday, killing 2 people, injuring 20 others. This is the latest that we got from officials just within the last 3 hours.
Good morning. Thank you for coming. My name is CJ Winnick. I'm the Chief of Police of the Bristol Township Police Department. Follow up on the tragedy that occurred yesterday. We do have 2 fatalities, and our thoughts and prayers go out to those families this time of year. What we're here to report, we have an ongoing investigation. We're working with local, state, and federal authorities, and we are going to confirm that there was originally 20 injured. We have 19 still hospitalized, 1 in critical condition. We're here to thank everybody that helped us, assist us yesterday in this tragedy that occurred. They are currently ongoing, conducting an investigation and going through the building to determine the cause of this incident. I'm here with Chief Kevin DiPolito of the Fire Department, and he'll answer any questions you have.
As far as the investigation into the cause of the explosion, that is still under investigation. We have heavy machinery on site right now that's helping us excavate the area. Until we excavate that area and remove the walls and roofs that collapsed, we won't have any idea what may have occurred in there. We're hoping to make significant progress today, and if we don't know by the end of today, we will continue our investigation over the next several days.
Chief, there were reports that there was a smell of gas that was ongoing before any crews arrived from the gas company. Can you confirm that?
I can't confirm that. We haven't done the fire department hasn't done any of those investigations. That's being handled by law enforcement at the federal level.
But did the fire department receive any calls about
Negative.
smell?
No, we did not.
No.
Kevin, I was told by some sources that PICO was out here on site investigating a potential gas leak, and that the PICO...
I am unable to confirm that. That would come from law enforcement.
Chief, a few questions. One, Sam Robert, WC News. At this point, how many people are still unaccounted for? Do you know?
Everybody is accounted for. We confirm that. That's the list that we were provided with the agency that was running this facility. We went down that list several times, and everybody is accounted for.
And are you able to share at this time if the 2 victims that died were employees or residents?
One was a resident, one was an employee.
Was the 52-year-old woman the employee?
Sorry, there were years of documented inspections that flagged various concerns, everything apparently from lack of fire extinguishers to fire exit plans. To your knowledge, were any of the previous concerns that were raised potentially relevant in what happened in this tragedy?
I can't comment on that because it's an ongoing investigation.
Can you share the ages of the 2 individuals who were killed?
I do not have those ages with me right now.
Male, female?
What's that?
Do you have male, female?
2 females.
Staff or resident?
1 staff, 1 resident.
Why is the ATF and the NTSB here?
Well, we have to establish jurisdiction. We treat this as a criminal event until it isn't criminal, and we have to determine jurisdiction.
There were reports that initially there were some reports that it was 3 people who died and somebody was saved at the hospital. Can you confirm that?
That is correct. Somebody was resuscitated at a local hospital.
Can you confirm that only a matter of weeks ago there was a call placed about the smell of gas by someone that works at the facility?
I cannot confirm that. We don't have knowledge of that right now.
Is it possible that that happened? Because that's what we heard from the employee.
I cannot confirm that. We have not spoken to that employee.
In the past few months, have you responded to any calls of gas odors coming from?
I don't think we've been here for any calls of any type, fire department related, in at least the last several weeks that I can recall.
The nature of the injuries, if you're able to go into that.
I cannot. I'm sorry about that. I cannot. I can just say that we do have 1 in critical, 19 still hospitalized.
Where were the residents who were released? Where were they taken?
So the company that purchased this property recently have 2 other properties, and they were being housed in the homes in their other facilities.
And how many residents were there in the facility?
We believe there's 120 residents in the facility.
What's the name of that company, Chief, that purchased the nursing home?
I do not have that information.
Can you talk a little bit about the efforts to rescue people and the fact that this is an assisted living facility? Mobility may be an issue for people, and how that presented or may not have presented a more complex rescue scenario for people?
Yes, we try to train for incidents like this, but we were overwhelmed. We had tremendous support from every law enforcement agency in Bucks County. Philadelphia responded with some of their teams. It was a blessing that we're next to a hospital. We had hospital staff come over and help us temporarily home them and house them in the facility. It was a difficult task.
Chief, there was one person who described it as not surprising at all if instead of 2 fatalities and 100+ people rescued, those 2 figures would have been inverted, given just the scale of what you were up against. How miraculous is it? It sounds like you had 120 residents, then all these employees as well, that had to be evacuated from the building in a matter of minutes. To you, was that sort of a Herculean task, and can you speak to the heroism involved?
Yeah, I was here when we were still removing, our officers and firefighters were still removing people from the building. I've never seen such heroism. They were running into a building that I could, from 50 feet away, can still smell gas and walls that looked like they were going to fall down. And they were still going in the building to recover people. They couldn't walk. They were in wheelchairs. Some people couldn't talk. This could have been a much more serious catastrophe.
Could have been much worse if you weren't as close with the hospital, with the firehouse and stuff like that.
I can only say that our response was very swift, and the actions of everybody involved helped preserve life.
Can you share how long it took them to turn the gas off at the facility? Yeah.
I cannot comment on that at this time.
Where were the people who died? Were they in that collapsed part of the building?
We recovered 1 employee from that section of the building.
And the resident, do you know where they were?
I can't comment on that at this time.
We heard the governor yesterday talk about the heroism. One officer had 2 individuals on their back, bringing them out of the facility. Was that a member of the Bristol Township Police Department?
It was.
Okay. Can we talk to them?
They're not currently working today. We could probably make them available.
How long have they been with the department for?
Over 20 years.
For 20 years. And their title, officer, lieutenant, sergeant?
A sergeant in charge of our narcotics division.
So that collapse, was that in the cafeteria, the kitchen area?
It was. It is the area where the cafeteria and kitchen are located, and underneath of that is some utility areas and offices.
Were you able to say that the fire may have begun in that utility area underneath?
We don't know yet the origin of the explosion.
What's that going to look like over the next 24 hours in coming days?
So the heavy machinery has engaged, starting to remove the collapsed ceiling and walls. We're hoping that within the next couple of hours we have access into the building to start the investigation. We'll know at that point how much further we have to go.
Does it look like in recent weeks you have not been there for any sort of
I do not recall the fire department responding.
Historically, in the last several years?
I have no idea. I don't recall.
Does it look like the entire structure is going to be torn down?
I don't think so. I can say that we've certainly been there for like fire alarm activations and assisting EMS on significant medical calls, but I don't recall anything more significant than that off the top of my head.
What does the damage look like inside the building?
On the wing closest to where the explosion was, there's windows blown out, ceiling tiles are dropped, those types of things.
We saw that some backhoes were brought in, some large machinery, but it looked like they stopped at some point. Was there concerns about integrity of the building? What happened there?
No, it's just a methodical process. Move some things, get eyes on it, get photographs, move some more, get eyes on it and photographs. It's a process.
Chief Winnick, you talked about the incredible response. The fact that this rescue squad station is right here, literally across the street. How much did that hasten the emergency response?
It was incredible. They were there immediately assisting our officers. We didn't know how bad it was. Our officers arrived and they said send everybody. We knew by the tone of the voice in the officers that this was a pretty serious incident.
Can you remember the last time, or was there a time where you had this large of a response in Bristol?
Never. I've been here almost 20 years. Talked to several other officers and command staff that have been doing this longer than me, and they've never seen anything like it in this area.
And
Were
double
any
checking,
first
can you
respond-
confirm any of the names of the victims?
We cannot at the time.
Were any first responders injured?
No.
The person who is in critical condition right now, is that the same individual that was resuscitated?
No.
I spoke with some people who live in the community around. They said that they started jumping in the immediate aftermath to help out some of your officers, moving some people away. Can you confirm that? And if so, like, what does that say about the community here?
Well, Bristol Township is one of those types of communities where we all come together. Everybody recognizes we had a problem, and there's a lot of people at risk. People know what type of facility this is, and there's a lot of people in need. I can't confirm that they were definitely residents because we had employees from the building as well helping, and we had nurses coming from the hospital. We had people from all over assisting. So it was a tremendous effort from everybody in Bucks County.
Were the families of the victims who died notified already?
Yes, they have.
And how long might it take for us to know who these people were?
So right now, for that to be released, Philadelphia Coroner has that information, and Bucks County Coroner, I would refer you to them, those agencies, for that information. All right, I want to thank everybody for coming. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right, we are going to take a quick break, but stick with us. Much more coming up in about 2 minutes when we come back. Welcome back to Live Impact News. It's been a couple minutes since we got a check-in from Santa. He is still in Africa on his merry way. He was just in Zambia. Now he's heading to Malawi. Jeb and I are looking up some fun facts.
Santa! Like from Elf?
Oh, no, I knew.
Okay, good. Yeah,
that was good. That was a much better, if you guys were here earlier for Jeb's Australian accent, that was a much better impression that we just got.
I would do the Australian accent again, but I was told I can't do it anymore. So
Yes.
I'm not going to.
Yes.
But it was really good. Like, I really channeled my inner Rob Irwin.
Hey,
shout out Dancing with the Stars.
shout out Dancing with the Stars. That is not on our air, but
Nope,
shout
but
out
I just-
anyway.
It's just good TV is good TV. Like that. People who are watching this clearly watch good TV because they're watching Live Impact News right now.
Yeah, and this is the things you get live. You get fun interjections. That was a very Chris Mulcahy thing
Yeah,
for Jeb to
see?
do. We had that earlier this morning. You also get fun accents. You get some fun facts about Malawi.
Yeah.
We're working on that right now.
Yep,
Zambia, though, he was just there. Home to Victoria Falls, most of
Yes.
it. Very cool. What about Malawi?
Malawi, so the capital is Lilongwe, which
That's
I thought
where they're
was
going.
super fun.
Very cool.
their major English or languages are English and Chichewa.
Ooh.
Their major religion, actually 80% of the country is Christian.
Okay.
With 20% being Islamic. And this is what I thought was super interesting. Folks in Malawi who may be listening to Live Impact News right now are doing just that. They would be listening because radio is actually the preferred form of media over television. There was a state TV station that opened up in 1999, but generally speaking, it does appear that they prefer radio. And how can you blame them?
Interesting. Also, he's now heading to Mozambique. Just switched it up as we were speaking.
Okay, let's find
Don't
out.
worry, I got this one because
Okay,
I'm kind of scared
Julie,
for
rock
what you're
and
going to
roll.
pull up. Fun facts about Mozambique: very diverse animals, 200 species of mammals, 600 bird species, and 6,000 plant species.
Wow,
I know.
That's a lot. That's a pretty interesting thing they've got going. What's their coolest bird, Julie? Let's get some Google in there.
That one, how could I choose? There's 600.
That's a lot of birds.
Who am I to decide? Who am I? You're Googling it right now, aren't you?
I want to know. I want to know.
Well-
they have ostriches.
Oh.
All right, ostriches win because that's the coolest bird on the planet.
There you go. There you go. Heard it here first, everybody. 3.3 billion presents, by the way, delivered so far, and he's still going
Almost
strong.
halfway there. I don't know how many presents he does deliver.
Actually, I don't know.
Yeah, right. Like I don't know. I assume it's
Is it
almost halfway.
one per person, or is it like?
Right. I mean, I'd like. If I got Christmas presents, I'd probably want like 4 or 5. Like I don't know what a typical Christmas
Who's to
haul
say?
is, but hopefully,
That's part of the
everyone's
magic.
getting some nice presents out there.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take another look at your forecast. It's going to be a little bit toasty here for Santa tonight. Here's Majestic Storm with what you need to know.
Well, good Wednesday afternoon to you. I'm WCNC meteorologist Majestic Storm, and Merry Christmas Eve to you. Boy, are we getting spoiled with the forecast today. We'll have plenty of sunshine, and on top of that, temperatures are going to be warm. I'm talking about record warmth, not just today, but getting really close to it tomorrow as well. Most of us have a few clouds out there here and there, but as we head later on into the afternoon, gradually clearing skies is what you should anticipate. Hopefully, you and your family have at least some plans to get outside and enjoy the nice conditions. We're talking about record highs today for our Christmas Eve. For Christmas Day, still plenty of sunshine, near record high temperatures. And then by Friday, cloudy and much cooler, so enjoy the warmth while we have it. Yesterday was gorgeous, wasn't it? We had a whole lot of sunshine, temperatures nearly 70 degrees. But then today, can you believe it's Christmas Eve? 75 degrees, sunny skies. I mean, let's just take advantage of this warm up. It is going to feel really nice. Now, if you're in the mountains, of course, it's going to be a bit cooler, but still not bad. Upper 50s, low 60s, a little breezy today. You'll notice those winds, especially early in the afternoon. 61 degrees, though, for your high out there in Boone. Once we head throughout the foothills, 74 for Morganton, plenty of sunshine there, 72 for Lenore. And then once we bring it back around Charlotte, 75 degrees. I mean, if you have a motorcycle, if you have a convertible, you might as well take yourself on a nice Christmas Eve cruise. A nice day to get those kiddos outside as well. 75 degrees there in Shelby, 75 in Rock Hill, and 76 in Lancaster. Believe it or not, but we're forecasting warmer temperatures for Christmas Day than what we saw on Labor Day. And of course, Santa Claus is coming to town tonight. Temperatures not even getting that cool overnight with a low of only 52 degrees. So waking up on our Christmas morning, temperatures will look like this. Upper 40s, low 50s. I mean, very, very mild as those kiddos are waking up, maybe opening up some Christmas presents. Now, we do have a small chance of a couple of random stray showers. I mean, not going to be much at all. But then as we head towards mid-morning, early afternoon, notice those temperatures warm up and we will have plenty of sunshine. Again, waking up Thursday, I mean, this is 2 o'clock in the morning. Most of us will be asleep. A few sprinkles and cloudy conditions. That'll continue until about 5 o'clock in the morning, and then back behind it, nice gradual clearing skies. That southwesterly wind really pumping in that warm air for us, and that's going to make for a beautiful Christmas Day tomorrow. 75 degrees in Charlotte and really surrounding areas. Highs for Christmas Day tomorrow in the mountains, low 60s, 60 degrees for Jefferson. So again, tomorrow we are going to likely break some records. I mean, the warmest Christmas that we've ever had, 77 degrees back in 1955. 65, and we're forecasting 75. I mean, we're getting very close to that. In our average, we should only be at 53. Now, we will have a couple of back-to-back days of warm temperatures, 75 degrees, sunny skies for your Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. A small drop in temperatures on Friday, but then on Saturday, we're going to see those temperatures increase again. Notice those overnight lows also just about where our average high should be, but next week we'll start to feel that chill in the air. Not a whole lot of rain coming our way. Remember, tomorrow morning we could see a little bit, but honestly, it's not going to be a whole lot. Here's at Jerry Hahn Supercenter 7-day forecast. I'm wishing you all a very Merry Christmas. Enjoy the nice, very comfortable temperatures, and join us tomorrow on WCNC.
All right, just past 3:30 here in the Live Impact studio. Taking another break, but don't worry, we will check back in on Santa in about 2 minutes. Welcome back. It is time, of course, for another check of Santa. He was just last spotted in South Africa, Johannesburg. Now headed back to Mozambique. Busy guy. We're going to keep an eye on Santa for a couple more minutes as we get ready for him to approach North Carolina in a few more hours.